All right. So like I said, please welcome everyone to IBA 614 Global Marketing. Today is our third session, and we will be having a practitioner session as well as a classroom case discussion. For those of us who joined earlier, I would like to apologize for the tardiness of our practitioner. She's unfortunately lost somewhere in Kumasi trying to find her way to her hotel. So she's not set up to be in class with us at the moment. But the moment she gets to her destination, she will alert me, and then I'll put in place measures to ensure that I can put her online, and then she can engage with us on the topic she was supposed to discuss with us. Specifically, she was supposed to discuss the political, legal, and sociocultural environment of Ghana and how it facilitates or inhibits trade by locals as well as foreigners who want to come and trade in Ghana. So that is the discussion she's going to have with us, and then we will have the opportunity to ask her questions on different things that we believe are of interest to us, and then she'll get the opportunity to address all the issues that we have. But since she's not here yet, and we were also supposed to have a classroom case discussion. So we will start with our classroom case discussion, and then we will go ahead and wait for her. If she's able to join us, we will be very grateful. But if not, perhaps we may have to reschedule it to another time. Please, I hope everyone is okay with that.
That's okay.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Lucy, kindly lower your hand.
Okay, so today, basically, our classroom case discussion is supposed to be all about the global marketing environment. Now, then we've seen the theoretical aspect of the global marketing environment, the different aspects of the environment, how certain things are supposed to play out in the environment, and how they impact our decisions and actions as global marketers. So we are going to look at the practicalization of these different theoretical issues that we learned about last week. And I have a number of video cases that we are going to use to be able to address these issues and identify and discuss how these global marketing environmental factors affect trade and business in different countries. We will look at examples from countries like India. We will look at examples from South Korea, as well as examples from the United States and Japan. So we will look at the videos, and then I will ask a number of questions and pose these questions to the class, and then we will answer the questions and discuss based on our observations from the cases that we watch. I'd also like to give credit to the sources of the videos. Most of the videos, I think almost all of them, are from CNBC, which is a global media agency. And they have compiled a number of these cases that will help us today to be able to address and dissect these global marketing environmental issues. So we will quickly go into our first case, and it is based on the cell phone giant Apple and the issues they are facing in the Indian market. India is actually the second largest cell phone market in the world, but Apple is struggling to get a hold on that market, where we have companies like Samsung and Xiaomi who have already taken the lead in this market and are giving Apple a run for their money. So we are going to look at a video case on this, and then we will discuss specific elements in the global marketing environment within that context and what it is doing to Apple, and perhaps suggest ways in which we think Apple can surmount these challenges that they are facing. So I'm going to share the screen with you. Please, I'll need you to indicate if you can see what I'm showing you at the moment. Please, can you see the screen for the video?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, please, I'm also going to need you to indicate if you can hear the sound. Please, can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll start over and then we can watch it. Please, when we are watching it, kindly watch it.
Increase it a bit. It's a bit low.
The volume, yes, I will increase it to the full so that we can all hear. But please, while you're watching it, I want you to take note of specific aspects of the global marketing environment, the political, legal, social-cultural, economic, and then how they are interplaying to determine the conditions within the market and how they are affecting the companies involved. So that when we finish, we can have a healthy discussion. Okay, so I'm going to start it.
Apple sells millions of iPhones every year. In the last quarter of 2018, the tech giant reported selling close to 47 million units worldwide. But not all markets are created equal. India has been one of the hardest countries to crack for the Cupertino giant. Although it's been over a decade since Apple began selling iPhones in India, the company can't seem to get a big bite of the world's second.
Doc, please, there is no volume now.
Can you hear now? Millions of iPhones every year. In the last quarter of 2018, the tech giant reported.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
But not all markets are created equal. India has been one of the hardest countries to crack for the Cupertino giant. Although it's been over a decade since Apple began selling iPhones in India, the company can't seem to get a big bite of the world's second largest smartphone market.
India is a very price-sensitive market, which means that people pay a lot of attention to what value we are getting out of the price that we are paying for a particular product. And in case of Apple, there's a lot of premium being paid for the brand itself, and that's where the price-conscious Indian consumer thinks about that if they're getting the same kind of feature or specs from another phone that they can get at a lower price, that makes it tougher to sell something at a much higher rate.
And Apple's definitely feeling the pressure. Samsung and Xiaomi accounted for the majority of smartphone sales in India in quarter 3 of 2018, garnering 22% and 27% respectively of the smartphone market. In contrast, Apple made up only about 1% of India's smartphone market share, trailing behind Chinese phone makers Vivo and Oppo. It's also worth noting that the premium smartphone market in which Apple operates still makes up less than 5% of the overall smartphone market in India.
Most of the smartphones in India that sell, they are below $200, and Apple does not have any say in that segment.
This environment is one that competitors like Samsung have begun to adapt to. The South Korean powerhouse is launching its Galaxy M series budget smartphones to appeal to the Indian market. In contrast, Apple doesn't seem too keen on changing up its India strategy.
I got some ideas for you. Okay. I talked to some people at Walmart yesterday. Yeah. An arrangement with Walmart Flipkart to take over India with a budget phone rather than doing it piecemeal.
For us, we're about making the best product that enriches people's lives. And so we're not about making the cheapest. For us, what we've seen is there's enough people in every country in the world that we play in that we can have a really good business by selling the best phone.
Still, some tech investors see Apple as being out of touch with the India market.
You think they're going to slash prices?
I think they have to, right? How can you sell a $1,000 phone in a market like China where the GDP per person is $10,000? In India, it's $2,000 a phone. And if you go back to the September, earnings release, they talked about the fact that India was way below where they thought. Well, your average GDP person is $2,000, and you're trying to sell a $1,000 phone. It's going to be probably pretty hard to sell it. They probably want to eat.
Another issue for Apple, stiff tariffs.
I think iPhones have a specific disadvantage in the India market because of the local regulation. There is a very high import duty on the phones that are not manufactured locally in India. So, for most of the big players in the India market, they are manufacturing locally, so they do not have to pay that high import duty.
Samsung has been manufacturing phones in India since 2007. And just last year, opened the world's largest mobile phone factory on the outskirts of New Delhi. Chinese phone makers Xiaomi and Oppo have also invested millions of dollars to build manufacturing plants in the country. That's not to say Apple has completely ignored India. The tech giant already manufactures its lower-cost iPhone SE and iPhone 6s models locally through a partnership with Taiwanese manufacturer Wistron. This year, Apple is also expected to move its production of the iPhone X series into Foxconn's plant in southern India.
In India in general, we're all in. It is a major focus. If you look at how we've done over the years, we've gone from a $100 to $200 million business to last year we exceeded $2 billion. Okay. That $2 billion was flat year over year after rapid growth. And so we have more work to do. We'd like to put stores there. We would like some of the duties and so forth that are put on the products to go away. And we're working closely with the team there. And I believe that we'll have better results at some point in the future.
But even with its local hardware production push, Apple still fails to provide Indians with a robust software experience.
It's only recently that Apple has introduced turn-by-turn navigation for the India market. Before that, that significant part was missing. And beyond that, there's not a lot of customization that Apple's done for the India market. There are not a lot of apps that specifically cater to the India market.
Past complaints for Apple Maps also included missing major landmarks and having very sparse data of cities and towns. But again, Apple is working on a solution. The company has hired thousands of engineers at its mapping facility in Hyderabad to improve its services. Apple Pay is also not an option in India, though similar payment services from Samsung and Google have already been rolled out. Finally, unlike in most other markets, Apple can't rely so much on its brand recognition to sell devices in India.
Another challenge for Apple in India is that it cannot have its own retail stores or own Apple stores because of some regulatory issues, which means it has to have partners on the retail side, whether it's the Apple premium resellers, which you see in many other countries as well, or with the third-party resellers.
In order to have a larger presence in the market, Apple has to have partnerships with thousands of these resellers, which in a country as big as India can be challenging. Apple is still a premium status symbol for many Indians, but one that is out of reach for the majority of the population. With phones from Chinese brands like OnePlus, which was India's best-selling premium smartphone brand for the second quarter in a row, offering similar features at a fraction of the cost, Apple may have a very tough time getting a bigger slice of the India market.
Okay, so please, did we all see that?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
We did.
All right, so were we all able to get a grasp of all the issues that they discussed?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we can start our discussion then, I guess.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, so let's take the global marketing environment one after the other, the different levels of the environment. Let's first start with the political/legal environment. Apple, we have seen generally from the case that they are struggling in India. That is established. And we know that there are a number of factors based on the case that is contributing to it, especially from the global marketing environment. So let's start from the political and legal environment. What aspects of the political/legal environment are hindering Apple's success in the Indian market?
Hello, Doctor.
Yes.
Okay, so I
Please
heard of the.
Before you start, so that I know who is speaking.
Yeah, my name is Hannah Kumsin, aka your office mom.
Hi, Hannah. Please go ahead.
Okay, so all right. So I remember they talked about the legal issues where they talked about the fact that Apple cannot have their own stores. They can't have their own Apple stores where they can sell because they have regulatory issues against that. If they want to sell, they may have to sell in other shops. Yes. So it doesn't give Apple kind of the space to operate on their own.
Now, can anyone give us reasons why not having your own store can pose a significant challenge to your marketing?
Can
Dog,
some of us
please,
are very Can I talk? Doc, this is Lucy.
Hi, Lucy.
The reason I feel is that if you are partnering with somebody, one, when it comes to after sales service, two, when it comes to the pricing of the item, you are not in control of it. So the partner company might also want to make a margin of the products that he or she is selling.
Exactly.
So leading it to be at a higher cost. And then the after sales service will also be poor if the person is not properly trained to handle such equipment. That is it.
Yeah, that's true. Saliu, do you have something to add?
Yeah.
Thank you for that submission, Lucy.
Yeah. Apple is very deliberate when it comes to their branding.
That's true.
So if they are unable to set up their stores per design,
yeah.
The kind of design that they want, it impacts on their global appeal.
That's true.
As the case mentioned, they are not in the bottom of the pyramid strategy. They are high-end brand, and they have a very specific way that their shops are supposed to set up.
Yeah.
It adds to their appeal, it adds to their standardization.
Yeah.
And if they are not allowed to come in to set up as they want, they wouldn't just go ahead to give their brand to somebody else to manage.
Exactly. That is 100% true. Thank you for that, Saliu. Michael, anything you wanted to add?
Yes, just to add to what has already been said, that again, you know, if you don't have your own shop, it is difficult to have the full complement of all your gadgets, which will make the experience much better. So you are with someone, and just like what Saliu said, Apple wants to set up their shop in a particular way where they will have a full complement of all their apps, all their gadgets, plus all the, you know, their various different types of phones. And so it will be difficult for you to do that if you are not, or if you don't have your own shop. And so that is also another reason why it has been difficult for them in India.
Very true. Thank you for that submission, Michael.
You're welcome.
Great. So we've understood to a large extent how the limitations in terms of regulation that prevents Apple from setting up their own stores affects their business, especially their marketing of the iPhone in India. Is there any other legal or political issue that we can talk about? Kasada, please speak up.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah.
I also observed that from the video, there were high import duties on the iPhones. Those were local regulations.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So what does this mean to a company like Apple, especially from a global marketing perspective? Kwame, please come in.
Yes, Doug, I also think that per the local or the sub-region rules and political policy, priority is given to products or item manufactured within India or the Asian sub-region. So if iPhone is playing second fiddle to those items, there's no way if you walk into a shop, the seller or the owner of the shop will first and foremost market Apple products to you than the other products. So I think Apple was not really a priority or not a priority item on any of the stores that they were advertised or sold.
I totally agree with you. Totally. Thank you for that, Kwame. Anyone else have anything to add in that regard? Yes, Ivy.
No, okay. Yes,
Doctor. I am thinking with what my mate said, that Apple is just to per the case study, Apple imports more, and then it is very expensive for Apple because in a low currency like country like India, it means Apple will have to pay more to bring its equipment to India to yes.
And I think that brings up a serious economic environmental issue, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes. In terms of what? from an economic perspective? You just mentioned it. Yes, Lucy.
Doctor, please, I went off. Please, what were you saying?
Yeah, Ivy, I was saying that you mentioned a very important economic issue in your submission.
Yes.
That was also coupling with the legal issue. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Could you read that?
Come again, please.
Mention it again.
No, I was talking about the fact that because for India, a low currency country, Apple will now have to.
Yes. So the currency and its value, right? Lucy?
Yes, Doc.
Yes. That's great, Ivy. Thank you for saying that. Lucy?
And then I was also going to say that as I said before, when you have to import and your currency is very low,
yeah,
you are importing a dollar item into your country. So the exchange rate to make the money very high.
Yes.
And so I have to go to social culture, looking at the income level of the people and what they are doing. They will prefer to buy something that is cheaper.
Yes.
Because they will see the apple as a very, very high price item, which a lot of people might not be able to afford to buy.
That's true.
So that is what happened, because if I import apple, I have to put some margin on it. And if I'm paying all those import duties will have to be added, plus my profit, my markup profit.
Yes.
So all those things will make it can even triple or double the price of apple on the Indian market, making it very, very unfavorable or not a favorable item for people to buy. That is what I think.
Exactly. I agree, Lucy. Thank you for that. Michael, your hand is
Madam.
up. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, just to add that, you will notice that from the video we watched, that Samsung and Xiaomi, they all have their local factories in India.
Exactly.
But Apple doesn't. And if you do that, it means that the cost of importing is much, much higher than the one that is being produced in the country. Yeah. And again, I'm sure because they have set up factories in India, there are a lot of taxes that will be waived for them, that if you are importing, it will not be waived for you.
That's
and
true.
It made their prices go high, you know, for the same kind of technology, for the same kind of benefit you get from all other phones. Yeah. If you have to pay so much for Apple, then why buy it?
Exactly. Especially with the cheaper options that Samsung and Xiaomi offer, like you mentioned.
Exactly, that's true.
Salil.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, please. Please, you can go
so,
ahead.
Yeah, another scenario on the economic side is in a market where the GDP per capita, I think I heard something around either $1,000 or $2,000.
Yes.
Is way, 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 way lower than the price point of an Apple device, which is over $1,000.
Good point.
So if you look at the economic implication, it means that a large majority of the people will not be able to buy the devices. Yeah. And that is why the strategy of Samsung and Xiaomi to create mid-level devices into the market because of cost. That is why they are making a lot of inroads in the Indian market. Yeah. And even as of today, India has one of the lowest smartphones outside of China. Yeah. At a price point of $20, you can get an entry-level smartphone. So if you are going to sell over $1,000 smartphone in such a market, yeah, you should understand that your addressable market or population is very, very small.
That's very true. That's very true. Thank you for that, Sally. Juliana, please speak up.
Hello, Doc.
Yes,
okay, so it was actually to buttress Lucy's point about the quality of the phone. So it looks like Samsung and Xiaomi are already producing phones that are the same specs as you would expect in an iPhone. So that the people do not see the need to buy exactly everything that they already have in a Samsung or the other ones in an iPhone. So the quality of the phone too doesn't really, maybe if there were some specs that were lacking in the other two, then probably even the political side might come in where the government might consider relaxing restrictions on what comes into the country in terms of that. But at the moment, everything else they need is in the other two brands without having to pay extra in an iPhone. Yeah, so there's no need for that at the moment.
Yes, Juliana. Thank you for that submission. Enid, please speak up.
Okay. With regards to the specs too, we also noticed that there was a comment on the software experience not being up to scratch for the Indian market.
Yeah.
And we also saw that there was Apple Pay, but they were not using that Apple Pay because they had something about Google or some other form of app to make payments. So that also affected Apple's performance.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Thank you, Enid. Lucy, you want to come in again?
On the specs, you realize that Apple, most of the apps on the Apple or anything that you do on Apple, you have to pay for it.
That's
true.
true.
It was one of the submissions there, but most of the things you get on a Samsung and Android for free. So I prefer to go and get my free thing than to be able to buy a lot of things. But when you are using for Apple, most of the things you have to buy. If you don't have a strong Apple account, you know that you may not be able to buy. But with the Samsung, you'll be able to do everything without having to use your account to pay for most of the things.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for that submission, Lucy. So on the basis of all that you've said, I want to ask you, does the case give us any clue about the nature of the Indian consumer, especially when it comes to smartphone purchase and use?
Please, you were breaking up your question again.
Yes. I was asking that in terms of the Indian consumer, what does the case tell us about the characteristics of the Indian consumer? Yeah. Saliu, would you want to come in here?
Yes, I think from the case, it established, so from the economic point of view, per capita is quite low compared to other economies. And two, people are looking for bargains when it comes to smartphones. I think the average amount that they wanted to spend was between $200 and $300.
Yeah.
And three, they were looking out for devices that are locally made because they feel some source of ownership and pride to attach to, you know, devices that were produced in country.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, I think basically this gives a description of the Indian consumer when it comes to smartphone.
Exactly. Very well said. Juliana, is there something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that they mentioned in the early part of the case that the Indians are very price sensitive. It's a price sensitive market. So whatever it is that they are buying, they want value for money. They want to be able to compare what they are gaining from the products to the price. So that's basically it.
Exactly. Thank you, Juliana. Lucy.
That's Enid. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Enid. Yes. Okay, Lucy, is there something you wanted to add?
Is that the buying power of the Indians were a bit very low. Look, secondly, they are not much interested in what they call prestige. They don't care about prestige. They want to know what they want is for the thing to do specific work for them. And if it's doing it for them, okay. They don't care about whether it is prestigious or not. What they want is the thing is doing what I want and I'll use it for what I want. So that is one of the things.
Very true. Very true. Thank you, Lucy. Michael, is there something you wanted to add?
I've said it in already. Just that the Indians are profligate in how they spend their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's it. I mean,
yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you.
Miss Ajwa.
Yeah, so adding up to what Lucy said, so the Indian market, they are unlike other countries that wait for every update of an iPhone So they just want something that they want to do something with, probably a phone call or just a text message or something.
Also true. True. Okay. Juliana, your hand is still up. Is there something you still wanted to add?
No, Doc, it's from the previous.
Okay, awesome. So before we move on to our next case, generally, what would your advice to Apple be? As a marketer, as a global marketing expert, what would you advise Apple to do moving forward? Yes, Lucy.
I feel they should come up with a brand that will be cheaper for that market. And then second, if they can set up, if the Indian government likes to have people set up in their country, they should try and see whether they can set up and manufacture there. But they should actually study the economy and the people they have there, so that they can produce a very sophisticated Apple to their standard. Though sophisticated, it should be at their standard that they will be able to buy.
But it seems Apple is manufacturing some of their hardware in India through a third-party company.
Yeah, because
so we want them to forget the third party and go in fully.
Well, that third-party country exports the items back to another country for it to be made, and then value is added to it, and it is brought back.
Yeah.
So if they feel if they are still interested in going to the market, they need to go and do a lot of research to find out the kind of people they are dealing with, and to find out what Samsung and Xiaomi is doing, and then also be able to produce something. They should come up with they are very innovative, something that will be very cheap, but at their level to buy. That will match those other products, does it?
Yes. Thank you, Lucy. Saliu, please come in.
Saliu, I beg you, Madam, allow me to break protocols more. There are some people who want to join, but they are told you are having another meeting, so they would like you to allow them in.
Oh, I have let everyone in. There's no one in the way.
Okay. Yes. Because I've just called complaining about that.
Yes, please. I keep letting people in through the waiting. Currently, there's no one there. So please, I'll keep an eye.
Okay, when maybe he knocked and it wasn't open, so he's gone back. I'll tell him.
If you are using old ID of course, so they should check the ID they are using. That is what happens. If you are not using the correct ID, you see that the person is in another room. Maybe she's made an ID before, which is still reoccurring, but this one is a new one, so they should check.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you so much for that. Yes, please. Okay.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah, Doug. If I'm a global marketer, my first advice to Apple would be to tell them not to go into the Indian market.
Wow. To totally pull out. Please, your reason.
Yes. To totally pull out of the Indian market. Reason, there is already economic constraints.
Yeah.
There are software compatibility issues.
Yeah.
There are tariff-related issues.
Exactly.
And Apple as a brand doesn't believe in the bottom of the pyramid approach. Now, if you insist on entry into the market, then all that my colleagues have said would now have to be done. They would now have to lower their standards. They would now have to build the device in India. They will now have to sort out the software compatibility issue before they can arrive at the price point that the market would accept. But my first advice would be not to go into the market at all.
That's a good one. And I can see your point of view. It's very well justified. Thank you, Saliu. Asamatano, please, you have the floor.
I'm just adding to what Saliu.
Please go ahead, sir. Yes, please.
They've not invested so much there.
I believe so too.
Yes. So pulling out will be easier.
I agree.
Than thinking of trying to, because Apple, as we know, are always for the people at the top. They will not make cheap phones to India. They will not go that low.
That's true.
So it's better for them to quit.
That's true. I totally agree with that. Totally. Thank you, Ms. Asamatano. Chief Tano, please, you can come in.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes, sir.
My favorite Doc. All right. For me, I would advise Apple to look at the Indian market, the regulations, and take the approach of partnership.
Yeah.
So that the local partners would rather push the product, the items through. The local partners will own the retail shops. One of their biggest constraints is owning a retail shop.
Yes.
Because they are not allowing foreigners to own it. So if they have local partners, then the local partners can do that. They know the channel, they know the terrain, basically, where to. So that is one. And two, they already do some kind of assembly, the hardware stuff. They look at it. And that is even the lower version of it. That is what they are doing there.
But it seems
so
apparently that hardware
basically it's about.
Yeah, Chief. It seems the hardware manufacturer is also not Indian.
Yes.
Taiwanese.
Exactly. So the most important thing is to get Indian partners.
Yes, you're right.
Indian partners.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
That will give the Indians some source of ownership. Yes.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chief. Enid, please come in.
Okay, so I'll have to side with Salihu and Asamatano. From our discussion, we've seen that Apple is a high-end brand, and the Indian markets, like when you look at their GDP, there's no way they can even afford the phones generally, even if they partner with other companies in the country. So I believe strongly that they should pull out, and it doesn't look like they are so eager to win over the markets. I mean, they haven't done so much, so yeah, they should pull out.
I agree totally, Enid. Thank you so much for that submission. So we have two opposing views. One group believes they should pull out. Another group believes that they should do their best to buckle down and make the Indian market happy by becoming more customized and making the Indians take ownership of the brand so that they can be able to sell as much as they would like to, right? So in this case, they have two options, and it is up to Apple to decide moving forward which one they would like to go ahead with. But it was an excellent discussion, and I'm glad you all appreciate the multiple issues that came up with regard to the environment and its effect. I still see some hands up. Please, would you like to ask a question? I think Enid, or make a submission. Enid, Chief Tano, and Lucy.
Okay, I wanted to.
Sorry, I'll lower my hand.
Yes.
Apart from the India market, it's my general view of Apple, because with the fight between America and China, and then China coming up with their own version of the Android and all that, and then so that they can host all those things.
Yes.
I think it's high time Apple start thinking of doing low ends, because if this thing affects them, then they are completely out, because most of the world is only a few people who will be able to afford. And if those people are putting it on their own phones like Samsung and all that, most people will be going away from those softwares. So in the long run, their phone will be, their product will not be in existence. So
that's true.
Thinking of how they can survive if this fight continues to go on, and then China comes up with their own iOS software and all that.
I agree, totally. Thank you for that, Lucy. Chief Tana, would you like to come in?
Yes, Doc.
Please go ahead.
Doc. I'm just reacting to the last but one speaker and before Lucy.
Yes.
One thing we shouldn't forget is numbers, the power of numbers. India has 1.3 billion people. And if Apple only owns 1% of the market, can afford $1,000 phone. You're talking about 13 billion.
Yeah,
this is not chicken money.
Yeah.
So it's not so much about the fact that they are not producing. It's a premium brand also, but the numbers, the share value of the numbers is what they should look. So 1% alone for Apple is $13 billion.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Thank you for that, Chief Tano. Saliu, you want to come
Hello,
in?
madam. Sorry to cut in with what Chief just said, but I don't think it means that the 13% that Chief mentioned, or the number he mentioned, it is exactly the people who are buying Apple phones.
Yeah.
Yes, because the number of people who use phones is not exactly the number of the population.
Yeah.
It's lesser than that. So they are still not, making profits.
Yeah.
If you ask me, yes.
Yeah. That's a good addition. Phyllis, would you like to come in?
Doc, I was going to speak when Michael interjected.
Okay, so Phyllis, please let Chief Tano speak and then you can come in after.
Yes, please.
This is not Saliu.
Oh, no, please. My hand is up. Saliu is speaking, please. Let me lower my hand.
Oh, okay. Saliu, please go ahead.
Yeah, Doc. As potential global marketers, I think one thing we need to understand is that there's a difference between your target population and the addressable market.
Yes.
So you can have a market of 100 million people.
Yeah.
You take your product there and nobody would buy.
That's true.
If you take luxury brands like Rolls-Royce, like Ferrari, like Gucci, like Lamborghini, these are premium brands.
Yeah.
They don't just open their shops anywhere because they are people. They open their shops where people can afford. So Ferrari will not open a, or Rolls-Royce will not open a showroom in Ghana, because in the entire 35 million population that we have, the number of people who can buy Rolls-Royce will not be more than 20.
Yeah.
But if they open in a place like Dubai, where the oil money speaks, they can even open multiple shops in Dubai, because they know that they have a market and the income of the people over there would be able to buy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be so much about population and numbers. It depends on the industry. So for Apple, once they have, without the Indian market, Apple has always been profitable.
Yeah.
The Indian market, yes, might add to their profitability, but to what extent needs to be measured against all these indices that we've spoken about.
Yeah.
So we have to be cautious when we are going to advise on an entry or a no entry strategy. We need to look at what the indicators are telling us.
Yeah.
If the indicators don't look good, I think we need to look at it and not hope and believe in chance. It goes back to our debate on the first day about chance that, okay, so you are hoping that people are going to buy the device. So that's my submission to the population issue.
So Mr. Saliu, if you were Apple, will you enter India or not?
I will not go into India.
He still stands by his first.
I still stand by what
I would go.
Yes, Doc. I think,
Madam, please, I want to contribute.
Oh, guys,
okay, please, can come in, then you speak afterwards.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Phyllis, go ahead.
So I am thinking that Apple is a brand made for a specific target market. It's not a mass brand or a mass production brand. So I think they have their market share in the Indian market, although it is not up to what Samsung and the other competitors have. That is why they are still in the Indian market. If they weren't meeting their target market's needs, they would have moved out of that market by now. So I don't know, but I just feel like they have they have their markets, and then they are supplying to satisfy their markets, and they are content with it. Yeah.
You see, as Tiftana was saying, you can never override countries like India, China, Nigeria, no matter what. The population alone speaks for them. So if they are 1.3 billion and even 100 million is able to afford Apple, it's more than 5 times Ghana's population.
But it's not about population.
Just do 1%. It's not. Yeah, we understand. Just look at the big market. 1%. I'm saying that just 1% of the.
Yes, 1.1% of population, and you are good.
So let's even.
It's more than 50% of Ghana's population.
Hello, Kwame and Ivan.
1% of India. That is not what we are talking about. So let's say that.
The reason
if you
hand.
Stop talking, everything will be okay. Yeah, please. If we,
I think we are using the order in which the hands were raised. So
if you use
kindly bear with
1%,
yes, I think
if you use 1% of their population, that would be okay.
Please, my hand has been
So,
raised for
Sally, what we are saying, what we said was that assuming their target audience or their target is just 1% of the population, who can afford, and they are working with just 1%. Even if it is 0.5%, the numbers are not joke. Check the numbers and see. So that's what we're talking about. That is why Evans will go. It is not. No
philosophy. Yes.
Well.
Yes. That's why I want to come in. Yeah. You can easily go into a country that Apple is in. Let's take an example, UK. Okay. You have cities and you have towns. You'll be surprised that even within the places that they choose to go, there's a criteria that they choose before they establish a shop in a town or a city. They didn't just go just because of numbers. That is not the philosophy of Apple. Yeah. That is why when Apple they take decisions in doing things, they are not taking it because that is the common sense to do. They have philosophies that they follow. They have things that they do. Yeah. And they are not doing it to suit you. That is one thing you need to understand. Yeah. Okay, because take the operating system. We've complained about simple things that should be done. But they will go when they have their meetings, annual meetings, they always say that they are the pace setters. They set pace for themselves. They know where they are going in 20 years.
I mean, interesting that you should say that, because they are actually taking steps to make the Indian market happy in that regard. They have actually set up a whole subsidiary to look into the improvement of the apps to suit the Indian market, meaning that they are actually seeing something in the market.
Yes, but they won't be pushed. That is the thing about Apple. They won't be pushed.
Yeah.
They may make steps. It's just the same as the operating system. Yeah. The things that we talk about, we complain about this, they complain about this. They'll tell you, look, take your time. We know where we are going with the technology. Yeah. We will get there, or we are not going to where everybody is going. Yeah. But believe me, they know what they are doing. Yeah. It's not that they've not seen India. They have marketers, but there are philosophies of Apple that makes them different from Samsung and every other company. And they stick with their philosophy more than any other thing. Because when you go to an Apple shop in San Francisco, you go to an Apple shop in London, the way they behave in the Apple shop is different from any other company.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what makes Apple Apple. And that is why the Apple people, even though we have our limitations and things, we still love Apple for what it is. Yeah. Because Apple is Apple. Finished. Thank you.
Yeah. Irene, you want to come in?
Doc, what I wanted to say, Ivan has said it. I was going to say that Apple has a target market, more like a niche clientele.
Yeah.
And they are not like Samsung, who will produce variants of phones like to meet different market segments. Like if somebody pays $200, and Apple will produce a phone that's worth $200.
Yeah.
Our target is $1,000 and above, and we know what we are offering. And if you really want it, you will find a way to make the money to buy it. Yeah. So even though in India they are struggling, maybe they are still there because there are a selected few people in India who are buying the phone, no matter how expensive it is, with the whole taxation and regulations and everything, and the forex that's affecting their pricing. So they have some markets, and if they're able to sell something small, that makes it means something to them for them to rather to produce like goods of that doesn't meet their standard. Like maybe then because of India, they will produce some phone that's like $300. That's different from, and then it will use a different operating system from the normal Apple operating system that we know. It doesn't work for the brand. So they stick to what they know, and then they do what they think is in the best interest of the company, not necessarily for the market. If not, then they should have been in Ghana, because we are in Ghana, people are earning way less, but still Apple sells, even though they don't have a shop here. When people travel, we always have our own ways and means of buying the product, even though we know it's expensive and we don't even have after sales service. So they know that there are all these limitations, but people still find a way to associate themselves with their brand. So I don't think they'll be pushed in any way.
That's true. Thank you for that, Irene. Mr. Yawamwa, you want to come in here?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Please speak up.
Okay, so I just want to say that in the video, they didn't necessarily say that they were making losses. It said that they made about, I think, 40 million in Q4 of last year.
Yeah, that's
so
yes.
So if you're a business, you aim to make profit. So if you're not making losses, there's no point in withdrawing.
Yeah.
Also, I think their policy have changed slightly since the death of Steve Jobs, because initially they didn't want to do any other they didn't want to do lower end phones.
Yeah.
Like the way the other brands are doing, yes. But now they are doing phones like XR and then SE second generation, which is costing about $200 or so.
Yes.
So they will be able to thrive in the Indian markets if they are to go into partnerships with Indians or some other way. So I don't think they should pull out of that market.
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amwa. Lucy, you want to come in?
Yeah, I think Amwa said some of the things I wanted to say. But if you look at, let's say, Nokia and then their, how do you call it, their Windows phone. They didn't want to do things, they wanted to do things their way, but as the technology evolved, they lost out. In the video, I realized that they were doing the Apple was trying to do some phones that would suit the market, if I heard right, but around the beginning of the movie. So it doesn't mean that they don't want to change their mind, as people said that they are high end. The thinking power of the Indians are different.
Yeah.
Our Ghanaians, our thinking power, we like everything foreign. We want to buy things foreign and want to show off. That is what Ghanaians are.
So it's more of a socio-cultural thing.
Yeah. But the Indians believe in that. I want to make money. I want to make it for this money. If this thing can do it, the money I'm going to make. He doesn't care about too much affluence or having to spend and show off that I am using Apple. No, he wants the thing that will give him money for value.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people using Apple and they cannot use a lot of the features in Apple because they cannot afford it. I won't lie to you about it. So you see, so if Apple in the movie is saying that they are trying to make phones that will suit that market, that means they know that there's value in the market. That's true. They are making profit. So if we look at Nokia's issue and we look at this, now the technology is changing and the competition from China and Samsung, if you get into the end, they said a phone, is it full force or Air Force, has almost all the features that Apple have.
Yeah.
So if that phone goes viral over the world and it's a very good phone, how many people will not switch from Apple to that phone if they can get all the features that Apple have on that phone at a cheaper price?
That makes sense.
Let's look at it.
That makes sense. I think you all make excellent and valid points. And this is the kind of discussion and banter that goes on in strategy meetings when it comes to marketing. We all don't have the exact strategy to go ahead with, which we believe will give us the returns that we want. But through the banter and the discussion and the raising of the general issues, we all come to a consensus that perhaps based on what we have seen, this would be the best way to proceed for now, to see how far we can go before we come to reevaluate the decision that was taken and try to see where we can cut our losses, if any. Kwame Akwa, you have something to say. We'll hear from you finally.
Yes, madam. Yes. So, madam, please, in summary, what is your take? Should we go or not go?
My take is Apple should stay.
Thank you very much.
The Chinese market is now becoming more and more difficult.
Doc, I like you.
Thank you. The Chinese market is becoming more and more difficult to stay in. And as the days go by, China is making people see that they are no more interested in doing business with foreign powers that will put them at a disadvantage. So China is on a mission to make their economy a powerhouse, like the way the US has been for many years, to the point where every major global corporation that is selling a particular product has equal, if not more powerful competition in China. So any product we can mention of around the world, the iPhone, in terms of social media, Facebook, TikTok, any kind of technology, China has an answer to. And they are beginning to close their market to make it exclusively for the Chinese people by the Chinese people. So I think firms that are doing a lot of business in China should start looking elsewhere. It's high time that they broke the monopoly that China has, because that is what China is using to its advantage, and start looking to other parts of the world where there are equally large markets, like India, like Nigeria, where they can make equal returns, if not more returns, given the strategy that they go in with. So that is my personal opinion. But then again, like I said, it's about strategy. And companies decide to go with different strategies at different times, depending on their circumstance and what they think will be the best decision to go with. So that is my personal take. Jifa, did you have anything to say before we move on? Your hand is still up, or you are good? Jifa, can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Doc, it was for the first submission, sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the discussion on the Apple case. We will now move on to our second case, which is about America and Japan. And I think this is a very interesting one that we will all love to see. So once again, I'm going to put up the screen. Kindly alert me when you can see the video on your screen. Please, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So please, we are about to start.
Yes, please.
When it comes to cars, Americans seem to love the Japanese, but the Japanese don't seem to love Americans back. Japanese brands sell remarkably well in the United States. Several of the best-selling automakers in America are from Japan, and their products seem to dominate entire segments in sales and critical acclaim. Japanese automakers sell so many cars in the US that they actually employ vast numbers of American workers in factories around the country. Japanese automakers actually build a third of all the vehicles made in the US. But the Japanese don't seem to be interested in America's SUVs, pickup trucks, muscle cars, or just about any vehicle made by Detroit. Ford left Japan entirely in 2017. General Motors keeps a presence there, but it is tiny. The largest US automaker sold only 700 cars in Japan in 2018. And people are divided as to why and what, if anything, should be done about it. President Donald Trump has criticized the imbalance, but so have US automotive trade associations, who blame Japanese protectionism. While there are no Japanese tariffs on US imports, a number of critics say there are all kinds of technical barriers that make it harder for US companies to sell in Japan.
Here in the United States, when we set regulations for fuel economy or safety or communication standards or whatever, all of the automakers that sell and produce in the United States are party to that conversation. In Japan, it's a much more closed process for regulatory compliance. These are the rules and you will meet the rules. Japanese producers have implemented that and suppliers, but it's pretty close to any external companies that would be doing business there.
But some industry experts say that really isn't the problem. Instead, the reasons US cars are so rare in Japan, which is the world's third largest car market, have more to do with Japanese consumer tastes, the abiding, if outdated, stereotypes the Japanese have about the quality of American cars, and the very different way customers shop for vehicles in Japan. It is first important to note that Japanese brands all but completely dominate local roads. More than 95% of all cars sold in the country are Japanese. Imports make up the balance, and most of those are higher-end European luxury vehicles, sports cars. This is partly because the Japanese have pretty specific needs. For one thing, space is incredibly tight. Wildly popular in Japan are the so-called K cars, which are tiny vehicles preferred by drivers who have to thread their way through narrow streets in crowded cities.
That minicar is a very, very unique category in Japan. Reason why, so Japan roads and the parking lot is very, very narrow and small. Consumers, they like to utilize those kinds of minicars.
K cars alone make up 40% of the Japanese market, and US automakers don't make them. Americans, on the other hand, tend to excel in making big vehicles, particularly pickup trucks and large sport utilities. In recent years, American automakers have scaled back or even entirely killed off their own lines of compact vehicles, which are often still bigger than their Japanese counterparts. In fact, many of the Japanese vehicles sold in America, from sedans such as the Toyota Camry all the way up to the pickups, are not even particularly popular in Japan. All three Detroit automakers have less than 1% market share. One of the best sellers, Jeep, sells about 10,000 vehicles in Japan a year. The Japanese car buying experience would also likely shock many Americans who often view a trip to the dealership as one of life's necessary evils. Much of Japanese business culture is built around service and hospitality, and auto dealerships are no exception. Japanese dealerships offer customers nearly white glove service, and the way buyers choose cars is entirely different from the traditional buying experience in the US. Whereas American shoppers will often choose a car from what is available on a dealer lot, Japanese buyers can often custom build a car out of a catalog and then have it made for them in a matter of weeks.
Japan consumer is completely different. They would like to choose their own unique. So this exterior color, this interior color, this navigation, so they can choose a local specification.
A strong local supply chain and local factories allow Japanese automakers to do this. Furthermore, quality of service is often quite high. Dealerships frequently have amenities such as cafes and complimentary car washes. They will also follow up with customers, sometimes even years after a purchase. Foreign automakers overall have had difficulty adapting to this way of selling. Moreover, the Japanese have long-standing perceptions of American cars as inefficient and unreliable. This somewhat outdated view originates in the decades from the 1960s to the 1980s, when Japanese brands were ascending. American automakers were plagued with criticism and scandal over vehicles such as the Chevrolet Vega, the AMC Gremlin, the Ford Pinto, and the Chevrolet Corvair.
So Japan had a lot of the US cars. At that moment, US vehicle is very big and not so good quality, not so good to fuel economy. Every Japan consumer remember those kind of US vehicles back home.
And though American manufacturers have made far more fuel-efficient engines in recent years, the US has historically made some gas guzzlers when compared with cars made elsewhere.
Yeah, I think there is a hangover for American vehicles. What does an American car say about even Japan? That baggage is carried with that.
Meanwhile, the Japanese rose to power in the auto industry in large part on their reputation for building solid, efficient cars that don't break down. Of course, many observers note that American autos have done a lot to close the reliability gap over the years, and cars overall are able to log far more miles on the road than they did even a decade ago. And US automakers are adamant that they would be better able to compete in Japan if the country removes barriers that make doing business difficult. The trouble for Detroit is that Japan is just one of the international markets where US automakers have struggled. All three Detroit automakers have had challenges in South America and Europe, while China, which is the world's largest car market, could become a tougher place to do business with slowing economic growth, increased competition, and trade disputes.
Currently, US OEM would like to think about just only US market. They need to see global market. In global market, they need to develop small car as well. Then they can utilize that vehicle for the Japan market.
If something doesn't change, US automakers could become just that, American companies that sell trucks and SUVs to Americans.
Great. So I hope we all watched that.
Yes, please.
Yes, Doc.
Awesome. So back to our discussion. This is a totally different arena with a whole new set of problems and issues. So let's go right into it. What are the environmental constraints in terms of socio-cultural issues, political issues, legal and regulatory issues? Saliu, please speak up.
Yeah, Doc. So I think largely from a socio-cultural issue, the Japanese environment is space constrained.
Yeah.
We all know that traditionally Americans make very large, huge, and gigantic cars.
Yeah.
And for them, because space is a major issue, they would prefer small cars than big cars. So another classic example is the UK.
Yeah.
The second sociocultural issue has to do with service orientation.
Yeah.
So the buying experience is very important when it comes to purchases of things like cars.
Yeah.
So for the American consumer, he just needs to walk into the dealership, make a selection, and goes away.
Yeah.
But the Japanese consumer is looking out for a lot more customization.
Yeah.
So they want to customize their navigation, they want to customize the colors, they want to customize a lot of things, which the American companies couldn't do.
Yeah.
And because internally the factories within Japan were set up to be able to address these particular needs, the American companies that came in, could not survive.
That's true.
So from a sociocultural point of view, these are some of the issues that came up in the video.
Yeah, yeah. Well noted. Thank you, Saliu. Lucy, did you want to come in?
Yes, ma'am. If you can look at it, you realize that apart from the space, most of the popular cars, even in America, are not cars that are, though they are produced by Japanese, are not cars that are popular in Japan.
That's true.
Because most the Toyota cars, the pickups, so space, I think, is one of the big things. And they also look at the fuel cost. They do a lot of fuel efficient engines,
Very true.
But in America, their cars consume a lot of fuel.
True.
And then they look at the mileage quality, a car that can go very far without having to break down and all that. And then the competition, that is, and then when it comes to competition, the American cars are getting a lot of competition from the Japanese because they produce things that suit the Japanese. And the Japanese too are, let's say, people who are very patriotic.
Yeah.
They like to consume things that are made by Japanese more than the outside world, because that is how their orientation is from beginning of birth. So they prefer to be more accepting local things more than they have to accept from outside. And a lot of the economy and the government made it sure that they will be able to do that by making sure that they don't give them enough spaces. Even the roads are very small. So when you are using a big American car, how do you bypass each other on the roads? That is one of the things.
Exactly. Good submission, Lucy. Thank you for that. Mr. Samatano, please come in.
The Japanese have a bad past experience with American cars.
Yeah.
They realized the cars they used previously, they realized they are not as efficient as they wanted. So why not buy our own cars? And like Lucy said, they are patriotic. So why not buy our own cars and use? If you import them, they are not good.
Yeah.
Why do you have to buy from them again?
Yeah, that's true. So based on the submissions that you have all given, I want to pose these two questions to you. The first question is that, do you think the American car makers have done anything at all to correct this bad taste that they have left in the mouth of the Japanese? And secondly, do you think that in terms of understanding the unique idiosyncrasies of the different markets, being Japan and America, are Japanese car makers doing better at identifying these differences and addressing them than the American car makers? Yes, Saliu, please go ahead.
Yeah, Doc. I don't think the American car manufacturers have done enough to be able to surmount these challenges.
Yeah.
I mean,
for
starters, Ford already left. It means that they had already given up.
Exactly. It's not a good
couldn't
sign.
compete in the market. Now, GM, that was in 2018, they only sold 700 cars in a whole year.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were refusing to customize what a customer wants.
Yeah.
So if the Japanese wanted a lot of customization, they refused to do that.
Yeah.
And I think they also didn't tap into the local supply chain properly, because although the Japanese, want small cars, they have set up their factories and then also tap into local supply chains to be able to get those customizations as quickly as about in a week's time, as the video said, to the consumers.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult.
Very
and
true.
then also for the American companies, although there is no tariff when they import into Japan, there are certain regulatory tariffs and hurdles in country that they didn't deal too well with. So this would be my view on that.
Yeah. Very, very, very important point you have made, Sally. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So in essence, the Americans are just refusing to pay attention to the uniqueness of the Japanese market. Yes, Lucy, please, you wanted to say something. Please come in.
I wanted to say that they tried, because they tried to make a car that is a smaller car, but it wasn't still as small as the Japanese car. So their effort was not good enough, because they still believe in space and comfort. So even with the small cars, they made it a bit bigger so that the Americans themselves will be able to be able to accept it, but not for Japanese people.
Yeah.
And I also think that as Sally said most of the things I wanted to say, so I concur to that.
Yeah.
But there's something that we also overlooked when we were talking earlier about customer care and follow-ups.
Yes.
When you buy a Japanese car, in the video, it said that there are follow-ups as long as if the car is very old. So for every person, he wants somebody who is more interested in him, even though he might have bought one car. Your interest in him makes him become a family member. So it makes you become you are not buying because you want to buy. You are buying because of, how do you call it, the word.
The global cosmetics industry.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the word. You are buying because you are become like a family member. So whether you like it or not, you are going to buy it from that side.
Yeah.
That is how the Japanese people too were also doing.
Yeah.
And in the video, it didn't say that when they are custom making the car, there are no price increments. So if I'm asking that there are no price increments,
I would have loved to know that as well.
Well, that's it. If they are saying that the thing can be done in a week, that means they can make the same car. I don't know whether at the same price for you, or maybe, but in the other car industries, you have to pay a lot.
Yeah.
And the customization has to take a long time, because if you want to do an added on in a car, there are options when you are selling cars. They tell you if you want a full package or added on, you have to pay for those added on, and it will take a longer time for the car to arrive.
That's true.
In your country. But I think because Japan, they are just there, they're able to do it for them quickly. But I don't know whether they are paying extra for the changes. So that is something I cannot argue there.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good submission, Lucy. Thank you for that. Godwin, you want to come in?
Yes, please. I wanted to say something about another dimension of culture between the two countries.
Please go ahead, sir.
The Japanese are very, how do I put it? They are very conservative people.
That's true.
There is a way that they live life. When it comes to their desires, they're able to hold on to get what they want, even though.
Before you go ahead, Godwin, last week we learned about this type of culture.
Yes, yes.
What is the correct reference for this culture type?
Hey, my class people, please, you are all in class.
Help Godwin. We use Hofstede's cultural dimensions to classify them. Please, what classifications?
Is it ethnocentric?
Yes.
That's the EPRG framework, but bring it to Hofstede's cultural dimensions. The masculinity, femininity, uncertainty, avoidance, those dimensions. Which one best suits this nature that Godwin is talking about?
I think it's good. The one got to do with delayed, what do you call it? Delayed, like their desires, they're able to hold on.
Good. The word. What word did we use?
Restraint.
Thank you, Thank you, Enid.
People are learning.
And thanks for rescuing your brother.
Oh, Enid, Charlie, I owe you 50%.
I'll collect it.
So the Japanese, if you even compare their, I'm even going a little outside the video, but if you check their way of life, you'd see, like, and even taken from the video, they want their cars customized to a certain specification that meets them, because the car that they are driving, they want the car to serve them. That is why they are buying the car.
That's true.
Unlike most Americans want to buy a car to show their level of prominence in the society or something like that. So when they go, they just basically are used to, okay, this is on the shelf, you take it home. That is it. A microwave kind of life. But the Japanese are different. And we can see from the way they're talking about the customer service.
Yes.
That even after the after-sales service that comes with the car, it shows you that the services that they are providing, they've gotten to know the type of people and how to serve them best. And it's like, even just a normal Japanese, if you were sitting on a table with a normal Japanese and they had to choose between another Japanese, an American, let's say an English person, a Dutch person, it is highly likely that they will choose another Japanese.
That's true.
But meanwhile, an American would choose because of the advantages that they think that they are going to get, not necessarily from who it is coming from.
Yeah.
So that is another dimension to this thing, why American cars will always struggle, because the culture bond with Japanese, you can't break it.
That's true. That's true.
You cannot break it.
That's true. Thank you, Godwin. Chief Tanner, you want to come in?
Yes, go.
Please go ahead.
For me, the reason why American auto sellers are done well in Japan has to do with the cultural and historical relationship between these countries.
Yeah.
That has affected the entire cycle of the Japanese, which the Americans try to work on. The Japanese were defeated heavily by the Americans, and this has they have a culture where honor and prestige and that kind of thing is very strong. So they find it very good, and they see anything American as imperial influence, which they do not appreciate. They don't want to be ruled by it. So anything American is not so much accepted to them. Secondly, to buy an American car means spend more yen. Why would I buy more yen? Why would I spend more yen to bring a car that would, one, not have they have the perception that it is not reliable. Two, is bigger and wouldn't suit them like that, and wouldn't have that kind of customer service that they are used to. That is why American cars are struggling, and they'll continue to struggle. Because what? And even if you look at the world market itself or the business environment, Japanese car makers are leading globally when it comes to the automobile industry. So American cannot do well in Japan. So for me, they should move away and go and eat pizza.
Thank you, Chief Tano. Asama Tano, please come in.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You asked whether the Japanese are doing better as in their effort to sell their vehicles to America.
Yes,
they are doing very good. You see, they like the video said, in the video, they said they have used American cars and they realized they were not reliable.
Yes, sir.
So at least they've learned something from the American cars. They realized that the American cars are not fuel efficient.
Yes.
Right? So why don't we also sell a car that is fuel efficient and reliable to the American car, and coupled with, like my namesake said, Ivan said, the after-sales service, which the Americans are not as good as the Japanese are doing.
Yeah.
So now you see Americans ready to buy Japanese cars because they are, one, efficient, and two, fuel consumption is cheaper. They can still make savings out of that.
That's true.
Thank you.
That's true. Thank you, sir.
Madam, please, if I may bring something just a little different to what he just said.
Yes, please.
Which goes a long way to show, because
to raise your hand and be called.
If my hand is raised, I'm just interjecting.
Lucy, are you there?
Please. So what I was saying, I was trying to say is that there's the idea that the Japanese had, in the sense that the American cars are inferior. They were actually, when the American cars came to Japan first in the 70s or 60s or 70s or 80s. But we can see that as marketers, it plays a very key role, that historical experiences can even influence what is happening currently in the markets that you're operating in.
Very true.
Yes, because right now, the Americans and the Europeans are making cars that are equally or even better when it comes to fuel economy and stuff. Yeah. But that notion that has been in the Japanese mind, they would have to work at it. That is all that I wanted to top up what Asamoah was saying. Thank you.
Yeah, Lucy.
Yeah. Doc, what I wanted to say earlier was a loyal customer. They changed their new customers and existing customers to loyal customers in a very, very short span of customer service. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things. And if you do the vice versa of our Japanese car going to America, realize that the Japanese are able to adjust in making cars that will suit the American market.
Very true.
Why is it that the Americans cannot make their car to suit the Japanese market? Because when you look at Toyota, it wasn't selling in America, but somebody just had the idea. They took the crown off and replaced it with L. That makes it Lexus, and they sold and oversold and oversold. So Americans also have they started this thing of not ball of not trying to purchase Japanese cars. Some time ago, that is why Lexus came in, and then I think the Japanese too have retaliated very well. It's also doing that. So as Ivan said, it's something like it's something of history thing. Because when Toyota Land Cruiser and thing went there, they were not buying until they changed their brand to Lexus, where it wasn't the name of a car from Japan, and they started buying. That is how they started making.
Lucy, can I help you out a little there?
I don't mind. Go ahead.
Just changing from Toyota to Lexus. Now it's not that they changed because of the Americans, but the same thing that we're saying, that the Americans are in for things that make them look good. So Lexus is a luxury brand of Toyota. You get it? So if, let's say, people are feeling shy to buy Toyota, but if you make it that Lexus is luxurious, people would want to buy it because of the American culture. So that's how come you have, it's like Nissan and Acura.
Have you checked the history of Lexus and Toyota in America before?
Yes, please. It's the same.
Yes, Lucy, we have read.
Yes, so
we have read it. They started producing Lexus in 1988. The first items
they produced were the same brand as Toyota, just that they just changed the logo. Subsequent ones, they started making more luxurious. I'm telling you the truth. Go and look at the history.
You mean Nissan and Infiniti, and then Honda and Acura. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, let me help you. Something small. Lucy, please, what you are saying is a bit misleading. Toyota Corolla has been the leading brand, the all-time selling car from 1970s. Lexus came in 1988, and as Ivan is saying, it was supposed to meet a specific need in the American market, the luxury brand. They didn't have luxury Toyota cars. So Lexus came to be the luxury version, like S-Class, like 7 Series, to meet that kind of need. Okay, so it's that they changed the logo to sell more. In the case of Lexus, no, it's to meet that specific need and lose the value of vehicles. Thank you.
Okay, for me, generally, this argument, I don't know which side to take because honestly, it's about the source. So each person can bring forward their sources and then we can judge based on that because it seems you all have really strong justifications for the arguments that you are making. So if you just use the sources to clear up.
Doc, you don't need the source. Please, if I may ask, so you know Toyota, you know Honda, you know Nissan. They are very good household names in Ghana and the world over. Very good. You know Chevrolet, you know Ford, you know good Escalade. Excuse me to say, I'm not trying to say American products and fear, but for once, their cars are playing second fiddles to German and Japanese cars. That is it.
Okay. Rodney, do you want to come in now? Rodney, your hand has been up for
Yeah, Doc. Yes, Doc. I was looking at the from a political view, like looking at a market with 95% being local manufacturers. It means there are some policies in place that are empowering the local manufacturers.
Although it's like they're doing it on purpose.
Yes, because although the video didn't specifically say anything about it, I'm thinking maybe the government in a way is putting certain policies in place to push outsiders away. Because for a market of the car industry, and 95% of them are local manufacturers, whole America has less than 1%, and the rest goes to the Europeans, not even to the other car manufacturers around Japan, the Koreans, and they have certain policies in place that are pushing other manufacturers away from the market and making it solely local. That's my point of view.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Godwin, you want to come in?
Yes, please. I was saying that my sources, my brother actually works for Toyota.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. When he started his training there, that is where I got this information from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so it's insider. So Rodney, I agree with your submission. It's almost like they are doing it on purpose, right? Because when we listen to the case, they also talk about the fact that they are very coy about how they are doing the whole thing, which leads me to think that it's intentional.
Yes.
They are not using tariffs or duties where people can openly say that, okay, they are sending all these tariffs to the people. Good. They are rather using non-tariff barriers, which are more elusive and difficult to track.
Yeah, they have a subtle way of doing it. And
exactly.
They are concealing it from the public.
So I'm putting this question to the class. Could there be any reason why they are doing this subtly? I mean, some people have given ideologies as to why, like for instance, the history between the two countries. But could anyone like come up with a reason why they are doing this subtly and trying as much as possible to make sure that the Japanese brands dominate? Yes, Godwin, please come in.
Yes, please. I would say that just like Donald Trump says America first, Japanese also believe that Japanese first. So Yes, and it works for them in the sense that don't make it obvious that we are bringing tariffs and stuff, but we know our people. You bring your stuff inside. We are playing fair, but my people won't buy.
Yeah.
And they have their means and ways of making Japanese use what Japanese use Japanese products.
Yeah.
So it's sort of it is politically right and intelligently being smart too. So it's just favorable. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Irene Oforiansong, please come in.
Okay, so what I can also say is that the US is a very good market for their brand to like cars that they manufacture in their country. So they don't want to do anything that's so obvious that can also block their market in the US.
Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. Thank you for that submission, Irene. Lucy, you want to come in again? Please come in.
For a country to be able to develop to the level of America was the giant and the dictator, and then from history between the two countries, for them to be able to survive and not be dictated to, they have to do something for themselves, be able to go out of the American shadow. So they have to be able to encourage their people and develop their people, give them a mindset in a way that they will believe in themselves and their own product. And they make sure that the technology, if maybe the American companies might have started a car, I don't know who started developing vehicles early, they make sure that they copied the technology and they improved on it to the extent that there are people who also like it. So when it comes to comparison or substitution, it becomes very difficult for their people to substitute for the American product because their products are equally good and better off than the Americans. And because of this land space became a problem because if you have everybody who wants to own a car, as everybody start growing in a certain ladder or to a certain level of their life, they will want to own a car, be able to move freely and not have problems. So if they are buying, the Americans are not ready to be able to serve their market as to what they want, their local countries are doing it. So why not? I can easily move my car and go and come if I have my small car.
Yeah.
If I won't get a space, so why not maintain my own country? So they did everything in their power to make sure that their people learn to love their products.
Exactly.
So that they can get away from the American dictatorship. That is it.
Exactly. And I think this is becoming an Asian trend because there are so many other Asian countries too who are doing the same thing, like the Chinese and the Koreans. So it seems it's becoming a trend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, please come in.
Hey, madam. I also think that it has to do with a little bit more of a history and politics. You know, after the Second World War and what happened to Japan in the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were actually down economically. So they actually promised themselves that they were not going to engage in any warfare, but they would actually use all the efforts they have in having a better or a superior technology, everything they do. Yeah. And that's what they started with the automobile industry.
Yeah.
And so that is their way of getting back to America and to the whole world that, look, we would do this and we'll be better and stronger. Again, they also started with the education of their children, how they should see themselves. Yeah. And so if you go to, not just Japan, but all the other Asian countries, the kind of nationalism that they teach them is such that you must love everything you produce, and your country and everything in there comes first.
Yeah.
And so they will not openly, sort of restrict any other company from investing in Japan. Yeah. But if you bring the products there, they are going to choose their own.
That's true.
So it's a mixture of a whole lot of things, and it has worked for them very, very well.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Samatano, please come in.
I think they've said it all.
Yes, sir.
You see, the Asians are very discreet.
Very.
That's the whole thing. Very. Unlike the Americans who talk a lot. Yeah. They are very discreet. They are focused.
Yeah.
you may wonder, might interest you to know that maybe they plant these things, they planted so many years ago, like Michael said.
Yeah.
That this is what, and then they know how to imitate.
Yes, very well.
Previously, I read somewhere that at times they even send students outside to go and learn, and then after that they work there, learn the technology and bring it back home.
That's true.
Yes. So they've been able, they know everything about you, but you don't know anything about them. And they are patriotic. Even if you do something that is not good, they'll patronize it as against a foreigner.
Yeah.
And then they will not come out boldly to say that don't buy this product from this country.
Yeah.
Because it will be unfair in the international trade.
Yeah.
But they'll make sure that no matter what, you buy from them. And then they also make what they produce so good that you even outsiders will love to like it. They can't do without it. Everybody's talking about China doing inferior products, but the whole world is going to China to buy from China.
Exactly.
Japan cars are all over the world.
Yeah.
Like Aqua said, they are all over the world. Everybody likes Japan cars. So you not say that Japanese are not buying from you. So you not buy their cars.
Yeah. Exactly. You can't say that.
You can't say that. You like it.
Yeah. The quality
Yes, but when you go there, they will not give you the opportunity to sell yours, because they make sure that there are people like what they have, or even if they don't like it, they'll be so patriotic that they'll buy from them. I know a story that some time by Koreans, when you go and buy Benz or any other car and you take it there, you park it somewhere, before it comes, school children will go and scratch the whole car.
Wow.
You don't know exactly who did it, but that is what, like Michael said, they've been taught to be so patriotic to the extent that when they see a foreign thing, they see it to be inferior.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then, Doc, that's a nice addition. But let me ask you a question. If someone comes to you, I want to buy a brand new car, what would be the first company to come to mind?
Toyota.
Japan Motors.
Oh, yeah, you mean the company?
Yes, the company. Japan Motors is the first company to come to mind.
No, he will say Jaguar.
Silver Star will come to mind, not Japan Motors. Silver Star.
I know. That's why I didn't answer. That's why I asked Doctor. So see, so right from the start, I think what the Japanese have done is that they've tried to make such a way that their products are very familiar to all markets.
Yes.
They've tried to segment or try to inculcate the whole international business or marketing strategy into every geographical space that they go. So take Dubai, for instance, or they say that most people buy cars from Dubai, and then the middle class or most people go for Arabian specs of Toyota or Lexus or Infiniti or something. And these are all Japanese products. So I think that's one thing that Japanese companies have done that most car manufacturing companies have not done. They come into your space, they merge with you, they become something like an indigenous company, meanwhile they are not. Yeah, thank you.
Sharon Ponsa, please, you want to come in? Yeah. Please come in.
Yes, Prof, please, before a practitioner comes in, I just wanted to find out, can we discuss, okay, or maybe another time, but then I wanted to find out, will there be another time for case studies or something? I wanted us to just briefly discuss Kantanka in our industry here.
Okay, so what we discussed today are all case studies.
Yes.
Just that they are in video form. So you want us to take time to discuss the Kantanka case?
Yes, to come down to Ghana so that we can also discuss our market.
Yes, that's
just
why
by
Dr.
the way.
Asare is here. Dr. Asare is here to discuss the Ghana market.
Yes, please. Thank you.
We would have started with Ghana because we are also very patriotic people. But Dr. Asare had a bit of a challenge, so she was not with us in the beginning, but now she's here.
Okay.
So we are going to give her the floor so that she can talk to us about the Ghana market. So that you can ask her all your questions. I hope you're okay, Sharon.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome, Sharon. Yeah. All right. So please, we are moving forward. Mr. Samwatano, please, did you have something to say before we move forward and give Dr. Asare the floor?
No. It's my hand raised up.
Yes, sir.
Then sorry, forgive me.
Okay, sir. All right, thank you.
I'm very interested in the question about Kantanka, if you can hear me.
Yes, Doc, we can all hear you. You have the floor.
Hello, Doc.
Hello, good evening.
Doc, you seem
Hello,
to
everybody.
Hello, Doc.
Doc, I'm making you the host so that you can show your face and then share your...
Yeah, we would like to see her face.
I don't want anybody to see my face.
You want to see live. You want to enjoy you.
Doc, we have to see your face.
Nobody is showing their face, so I just did that.
Okay, Doc, I'm here.
Okay, right.
So, Doc, you are the
somebody
host
asked
now.
a question about Kantanka, and I was very interested to discuss Kantanka.
Yes, Doc.
Oh, okay.
You asked, the lady asked the question about Kantanka. What do you want to know about Kantanka? I've had my own experience with Kantanka.
Yes, please. The reason why he's producing here and he's not able to gain market share, the other cars are doing well here, and we as a people are also not embracing what he's doing.
Let me tell you my very practical experience with Kantanka. I think Kantanka only assembles here. And so as an organization that promotes Made in Ghana, a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, when we decided to, and you can go and check from them if what I'm saying is right or wrong. About a year ago, when we decided to buy vehicles for directors in my organization, we decided that we will patronize Made in Ghana. And so we will go to Kantanka and order Kantanka vehicles. So we went to order about 8 vehicles from Kantanka. And as I'm talking to you, we had to cancel the order. They couldn't even produce one for us. It was a back and forth. In the end, we just canceled the order and we are going to Toyota. So sometimes, we make so much noise about what we do, and it is not as we see it. He's able to produce once in a while, assemble 1 or 2 and all of that. And we have talked to him about the challenges he may be facing, what we can do to help him so that he can produce to meet the needs of the Ghanaian market. But they will always tell you that they can do it. And then you get disappointed. And I'm sure that if other companies get to hear our story, it will deter them from going there.
Wow.
Doc, I have a contrary experience from my organization. Yeah. Yes, I work with the Forestry Commission, and we needed some pickups for some of our forest regions. And so we contacted Kantanka, and he was able to give us about 10 pickups. Good for you. Yes, and we bought about 5 SUVs. Oh, good for you. And so he got finished. He bought everything. That's why they couldn't give us. And they are all working very, very well. That's why I wanted to buy from them, because I know a couple of people who are using them. Even at the Ministry of Trade, there's one 4x4 there. So I wanted to buy the Mensa for my directors. Yes. And I didn't get it. Unfortunately. So I'm sure they are having some challenges, and we need to know the challenges they are having and how we can help them resolve these challenges, because we are all interested in using Made in Ghana. It breaks my heart that I have to go and buy Toyota. It really breaks my heart that I have to go and buy Toyota. But you see, every time I come with the excuse that I'm having issues with Kantanka, then my directors think, oh, madam, she doesn't want to get the vehicles for us, because it's been a year. She doesn't want us to. She's just been, throwing dust into our eyes. So to prove that I really want to get them the vehicles, now I have to go to, but I'm still waiting to buy a Mensa. Yeah. So let's see what happens. But we have issues.
Hello, Doc.
We have issues, yeah. So
Yeah, hello, Doc.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, so did they provide a reason why they couldn't supply your request? Did they provide a reason?
They said they had ordered some parts and the parts were not in. It's been a year. And then they came back to tell me, okay, I can't give you the Mensa, but I can give you 2 SUVs for now while you wait for the Mensa. I agreed to the 2 SUVs. The 2 SUVs, I waited for 4 months. They come and tell me there's something wrong, and we have to order some parts and all of that. I mean, it was on and on and on. You could find out from them and say that I said you should find out from them to corroborate the story I'm saying. It is true. They've had some challenges. It's not so smooth sailing with them like we all think. You could go to Kantanka and get it. I'm sure that fortunately for the forestry department, they had some pickups there, and so they could easily give it to you. But because they don't manufacture most of the parts here, it's becoming very difficult. How can we help them to manufacture the parts, most of the parts that they order, so that it will be very easy for them to supply their clients?
Yeah.
Doc, can I ask a question?
Please do.
My question goes to Michael, since he has experience with the vehicles. What are the performance and the comfortability of those vehicles compared to Toyota vehicles? If Michael could answer that question, I'll be very grateful. Since they have an experience, because I remember some people bought some of their cars some time ago. Especially the police, the police also got some cars from Kantanka. They had to park them because they said that the performance was not that good. So I want to find out from Michael whether there's been improvement and the comparison, how far it is. Because if you check the Japanese market in America, they make sure that they produce better than the Americans. So it was easy for them to adjust to their own country's product. And we are already used to the American or the European cars and the Japanese cars. So if Kantanka has to come in, he has to make sure that his vehicles are very, very, very superior to those people at a cheaper price. So Michael, if you can just give me your experience with the car.
Yes, I can. And truthfully, when it comes to luxury and even speed, as for the speed, it's not so different from the Toyota pickups we have. But when it comes to luxury and durability, truthfully, it cannot be compared to the Japanese cars. But I mean, we just have to help our own. And if you just have to spend a little more to help a local company, I mean, why not? So that was our mentality in going in for it. Yeah. Because we've been buying Toyota cars or since we started, the organization. But this was a conscious effort to actually help the industry, to grow. And just like you said, when it comes to durability, it cannot in any way be compared to, a Toyota or a Nissan. But I mean, that was what. We have to start from somewhere. We have to support our own. That is so. That is so, Doc. That is so.
I don't have any problem with supporting our own, but that already Ghanaian mentality and our market already, the taste we have is that kind of taste.
Yes, but we have to change it. And we need to make a conscious effort to change that.
I don't have a problem.
It will not come easy, but we still have to change it.
We will try. But they have to make sure that
the Japanese started like that. The Chinese started like that. The Japanese, we didn't even like their products when they were bringing it initially. They were not good. The Chinese too. So eventually, we are also going to go through the same process. We are going to get there. As he's saying, we need to make a conscious effort. This is where we want to be. We have to start from somewhere. And encourage.
Doc, I have a question.
Yeah.
Hello, Doc. I have a question.
Please.
Can I talk?
Yes, please.
All right, Lucy. Lucy, why did you ask him against the Japanese and American car? Why didn't you ask him the comparison between that car and the Indian and the Chinese car that we buy?
I met a lot of companies, but in the
wait. Answer my question well. Why did you compare it to the Japanese and American? Why didn't you compare it to the Indian cars we buy? That the quality I have experienced are terrible, and I think Kantanka can surpass them. Yeah. At least we start from there. It's better. Don't go for that high. We know we haven't gotten there. So if you try to peg against that one, we will fall out. Let's rather think about why are we buying the Indian car not so much better than what we have, Kataka is offering a better or a better product or similar thing that we are buying from the Indians and the Chinese. Why are we not patronizing that? That should be where we should start for me.
Okay.
Then we start to improve upon it. Thank you.
So I think I have to do my presentation. I have to do my presentation. And
yes, Doc.
then,
yes, Doc.
And then we can continue.
Yes, Doc.
We can continue with this. I'm trying to minimize this for you to see the presentation.
I have a tech expert here who can walk you through how to, let us see it.
Ivan.
Okay. Right.
So get Ivan.
Okay, madam, if you kindly move to content.
I should go to where?
Share content is the green square with an arrow pointing up. It should be after your video and
I've seen that.
Okay, so if you click on that, if you're on a laptop, it will present you with a couple of screens. So you choose the one that you want and you click share.
A couple of screens. It did not.
Okay, I think Dr. Sheena is the host now, so I think she will.
Yes, but I have enabled multiple share.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, so she can share.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doc, I was going to say you needed to bring your screen down.
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
really?
Doc, let me just make you the host.
Okay.
I think that will make it easier for you.
Okay.
But that means that you will have to be letting those who go offline back in.
Interesting.
Dr. Sheena, can't you do 2 hosts? Is it only for 1 host? Yeah, some of the things I can do 2 hosts or 3 hosts. Check if you can do co-host.
Okay.
Check if your license gives you co-host.
Can you see the presentation now?
No, please.
No, we
Can you
can't.
see it?
No,
You can.
not yet, Doc.
Dr. Boateng, another alternative would be for her to send it to you so that you project it for her while she just goes through it.
Okay.
How many lines can she send it?
So, Doc, which one would you prefer?
You want me to send it to you now?
Yes, Doc, you can just forward it to me and I'll quickly open it and share on the screen.
Okay.
Yes, Doc. Because I'm online.
Okay.
Let me see whether I can share a screen. Go back. It's easy. I can share a screen.
You can. So why can't I?
You see, we don't want to see your screen.
No, I'm just trying to test. That is all. I was just testing. You gave me the message. Doc, have you opened the file already?
I have.
When you click the share screen, you should come up with some.
Screen sharing. I've clicked it here. So I'm surprised you're not seeing.
Please, if I may interject a little, are you using PowerPoint?
Yes, I'm using PowerPoint.
Okay, kindly go to the tab, just exit out of presentation, go to the tab that has slideshow, and please check to see the screen that it projects to. I think there'll be screen to project to. Check, just make sure that it's not on a secondary screen. Because if it does that, then you wouldn't be able to project the.
What is the secondary screen now?
I was going to ask, have a speak English and stop the tech English.
But Doc, you can just forward it to me too.
Yeah.
So that
I think that would be easier. Yeah, just forward it to Dr. Boateng.
Okay.
Yes, Doc. I'm actually online, so I'm just waiting for it to come through.
Okay.
Yes, Doc.
Where is the secondary screen?
Lucy, we can hear you. Your mic is on.
It's not me. I am quiet as something.
You are not quiet. We can hear what you are even thinking.
Yeah, enemy of progress.
Progress, wow.
I tell you, Lucy.
No, I was supposed to have done this earlier, but
Dr. Asare, is it possible you can share the slides with Dr. Boateng so that maybe she can present?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm
Okay.
doing that now.
The number you called has
Doc, please, have you sent it?
Yes, I have sent it.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm waiting for the mail. Doc has just sent it. So I'm waiting, I'm refreshing the screen to get it back so that I'll load it on the screen, then we can continue. So sorry for any delays.
let's see, whilst you're waiting, because the file is big, it will take time to come on.
Okay. So I've got the file now. I'm sharing it now. Please, can we all see the screen?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Okay. So Doc is here now. Doc, please, you have the floor. Oh, seems she's gone offline.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Doc, please, you have the floor.
All right.
Yes, Doc.
Good evening once again. And this is a huge topic that was given to me by the good doctor. And she gave me this huge topic and I got scared. But I'm going to try my best to do justice to it as I can. So who is going to control it? My name is Afua Asabea Asare. I'm the CEO of Ghana Export Promotion Authority. And I suppose she asked me to do this because I'm working with the Trade Promotion Organization. And basically that means I should know a little bit about trade and the protocols and everything that goes on in that international trade ecosystem. So that's what we are going to do today, to understand Ghana's economic, political, and legal environment and how it facilitates international trade and marketing. Yes. Who is moving it for me?
Doc, please, I'm here. I'll do that for you.
Can I do it from here? No.
I'm trying to see.
Okay, so let's go.
Helping me do that right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it can be done by me, but let's go.
Okay.
So basically, we are going to look at the political and legal environment. We are going to look at economic activity, that is both import and export. Economic activity, export, which is where I am concerned, trade agreements and protocols, and then the role of GEPA. I need to talk a little bit about my organization. I cannot talk to such important people without letting you know what we do at GEPA, Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Next slide. So basically, Ghana is making a lot of strides to establish itself as a very, very important gateway to West Africa. I normally want to say that now we've even moved further to making it a gateway to Ghana. And why would we say that we want to make it to Africa? Why would we say that we want to make it a gateway to Africa? We want to make it a gateway to Africa because we are standing on certain strong pillars. And we think that we have a very generally economic management. The crime rate in Ghana is low. Our wage not quite competitive. We have educated people. Most of us speak English, and we have abundant natural resources, and politically we are stable. So we can say that we have the ingredients that makes it good for us to be the gateway to Africa. And we are almost there, as we even have the headquarters of the AFCTFA now in Ghana. We have the African Trade House that houses my office and the Ghana Exim Bank as well. And 4 of those floors in that building, the African Trade House, is going to house the AFCTFA headquarters, which is basically making us the commercial hub of Africa. So now we can start calling ourselves the gateway of Africa. Please, next slide. Ghana is also among the fastest growing countries and a rising star in Africa with our growth rate of 6.3. Ghana has improved in the World Bank ease of doing business from 120 to 114 out of 190 economies. That is in 2019. And Ghana's progress was as a result of 3 key reforms. One is the stricter quality control in construction. We made it very easy to pay taxes, and then trading across borders, which the Honorable Vice President is known to be touting all the time. The paperless customs clearance processing system. These are some of the things that made us place 120 in 2019. But I'm sorry to say that in 2020, we've lost that position. We came down with 6 points. Next slide.
Doc, please, I've given you remote access. So,
really?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we have dropped now to 118, from 114 to 118 in 2020 due to the introduction of the 5% gets fund in NHLIL. This was seen as a disincentive to local manufacturing. So it's going to be very, very difficult for our manufacturing economy to be competitive because of this Get Fund and NHIL, because of that introduction of the 5%, which is not very good for manufacturers, and they are complaining now, and which has also made us go up in the ease of doing business. We've gone up in the number. It means we've dropped by 6 places, and it is not helping us at all. So I think there is a lot of discussions going on as to what to do to rectify the situation and begin to move back on course. Still trying to get this thing. So let's look at economic activity when we talk about both import and export. Trade makes the highest contribution to Ghana's GDP. That is 15.2% of our GDP is from trade. 75% of value added from the services sector. When you look at the countries that we trade with, that is both import and export. Between Asia and Europe, our trading is about 79% in merchandise. In Africa, 11%, which is not good enough. In America, 10%, and then within the ECOWAS sub-region is 7%. This is not good. If you look at what we do with Asia and Europe combined, 79. Why can't we trade amongst ourselves? Not even in the ECOWAS sub-region. And there are so many issues that plagues us. That's why we do only 7% when you even talk about ECOWAS. And when we get to the trade protocols, I will explain these further. So when we talk about export, non-traditional export, and that is where we are mandated to look at GEPA. GEPA is mandated to promote the non-traditional exports. That means we are not dealing with cocoa, we are not dealing with oil, we are not dealing with minerals. That lies in another domain where you have Cocoa Board and the Minerals Commission and all of them taking care of that. We deal with non-traditional export, which is defined as everything that has value added. So value addition is my domain. If you add value and I'm selling on the international market, then it's part of my NTE basket. And in 2018, Ghana's contribution to its trade by way of national non-traditional export was 2.8 billion. This is what we contributed to the overall merchandise export of Ghana in 2018. In 2017, it was 18.37%. In 2016, 3.6%, and year on year, and in 2015, 0.3%. So you can see that between 2016 and 2018, we went up about 10%. We did very well, and there are reasons why we got to that level. And very soon we will be announcing the 2019 figures as well. So our biggest earner is processed and semi-processed. That means value-added products, contributing to about 78.53% of the 2.2 billion. I would also want you to see the top 10 products that did well, that took us to that level. And first on the list is cashew, which we export to India mainly. Then cocoa butter to the Netherlands, cocoa paste to France, articles of plastics, and that means your plastic bowls and buckets and all of those things to Burkina Faso, canned tuna to France, cocoa powder to Netherlands, iron, steel circles, rods, sheets, billets, banana, aluminium, plates, and coils to Netherlands, and banana to UK. So you can see that our main trading partners from the first top 10 is still the European countries of Netherlands, France, and the UK. And then we only trade with Burkina Faso in West Africa, which is the highest. You would think that it would be Nigeria or somewhere else, but our biggest trading partner in West Africa is Burkina Faso. And then cashew is India. So I think that Ghana in the longer term should look at how it can diversify its trade relationships and trade inwardly. Intra-African trade has become very important, the way things are going. And even in this era of COVID, we have realized that it is even more important to trade in Africa than to look elsewhere. Haven't we been able to come up with all manner of things that we would have been importing from other African countries, from other European countries and all of that. But now we are all looking inward and doing things that we can do here. Some of the things we can do here, other African countries can't do them. We can begin looking at how we can export to other African countries and trade within ourselves. We can also start forging bilateral relationships with other countries. Ghana and South Africa has had this kind of bilateral relationship since 1994, and we are doing very well trading with them. We have to do same with other African countries. Somebody would think that we should have been doing this with Nigeria and maybe Benin and Togo and Cote d'Ivoire, sometimes it is even very difficult getting our goods across from Ghana to Nigeria. It hasn't been easy. We have signed so many bilateral agreements. We have protocols that we ourselves breach, that we ourselves do not respect, and it makes it very easy for us to even trade amongst ourselves. Sometimes something that you could get easily to buy in Benin, you have to go through all kinds of unorthodox ways to get it. Meanwhile, we have trade agreements with all these countries that are around us. So we may be closer to countries, but trading with them is not very, very easy, although we've had trade agreements and protocols that I'm going to talk about with them. Let's look at ECOWAS. West Africa Regional Group is made up of 15 members, and it has a mandate of promoting economic integration in all fields of activity. What is it that we hope to achieve as ECOWAS? A collective self-sufficiency for its member states, so that we can decrease all the issues that we get at our borders, so that we can realize our full economic potential. We can make it easy for people to move from one ECOWAS country to the other. This was supposed to be the objective of the ECOWAS treaty. There's something that we call the ETLS, and I'll talk about the ETLS. But being a member of ECOWAS means that you are a signatory to many international economic partnership agreements, and this will help. Example, the ECOWAS EU EPA, which is supposed to help remove all the trade restrictions. But as to whether this is really happening is another story. Another trade agreement is the ETLS, ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, which is the main ECOWAS operation tool for promoting the West African region as a free trade area. It is the tool for ECOWAS to be ECOWAS, to exist, to be able to abolish all the whatever bedevils us from trading amongst ourselves, to make it easy. Basically, the ETLS stands to make it easy for us to work amongst ourselves without barriers and without tariffs. It first came into existence in 1979, and then it was revised in 1990 to include industrial products, because in the beginning, they were just talking about agri-produce, artisanal handicrafts, and unprocessed goods. So anything could just go through. But it got to a point where we thought that industrial products are also very important, and we could trade amongst ourselves. So we added industrial products to the rest of the produce that we were sending across. So if you want to take things to other ECOWAS countries, if you have to take products to other ECOWAS countries, we call something the originating certificate. Where is it originating from? Because I can import things from China, bring them to Ghana, and then take them across the border to Nigeria to sell. And that is one of the issues that started the problem with the border at the Nigerian borders, where Nigeria closed its borders to rice from other countries or produce from other countries, basically because they didn't want the importation of rice in their country from other countries. And people from Benin, exporters from Benin, were importing rice from China, rebagging them and sending them across the border to Nigeria. So Nigeria got very, very angry with this situation and decided to block their borders so that these things can come through. So you need to have a certificate of origin, and that should bear the fact that the things that are being traded across the ECOWAS countries, ECOWAS borders, is actually originating from West Africa. And if you don't have this, then we are putting ourselves into problems and people are closing their borders. Because if I have cocoa here and you have to go and import cocoa from somewhere into my country and you brand it as coming from Cote d'Ivoire, maybe it's coming from Costa Rica or somewhere, it breaches the ECOWAS protocols and treaties. And then we also have the African Growth and Opportunities Act. That's the AGOA. The African Growth and Opportunities Act is a piece of legislation approved by the US. The purpose is to assist the economies of sub-Saharan Africa and improve economic relations with the USA. And so it provides trade preference for quota and duty-free entry into USA for certain goods. And when I talk about certain goods, these goods are about 6,500. And for us in Ghana, we haven't even scratched the surface of the AGOA. We have not been able to produce as much as we should to meet the ideals and the goals that was set for AGOA for us to meet. So it is a rather sad situation. Other countries are taking advantage. We haven't been able to take full advantage. We are trying to push textiles as much as we can, but there are other products that we could push. I mean, when I talk about 6,500, it's quite a lot. If you go to the AGOA site, you can see all the products that are there that we can take to America, quota-free and duty-free, to the extent that other countries that want to access the American market will come through Ghana and produce certain things and take them there so that they would not pay the duties and the tariffs that they would have to pay if they were doing it in their country. So it is an opportunity that exists for us to take. And we have only about 4 or 5 years to go before it ends. How do you benefit? I think I've talked about it. The main benefits for the Ghanaian exporters include existing FDI-infused export producers in Ghana, providing the shortest fuse to tangible results in terms of accelerating Ghana's exports and non-traditional products to the US market. The National AGOA strategy builds on the existing National Export Strategy and its broader development framework. So duty-free preferences, food safety trainings, I mean, they give you all that you need. If you need training to be able to meet AGOA, the American government even helps you with the training to meet the AGOA standards for you to export to AGOA. I'm going to move on because I've talked about all of this. I just want you to look at some of the figures and what other countries have done. These are the top 4 in Africa when you talk about countries that have been able to do just what we are supposed to be doing, exporting to America and the duty-free, quota-free. Nigeria in 2019 exported 704 million. South Africa, second with 434, and Ghana, 148, and Kenya with 108. That's in 2019. For the first quarter of 2020, South Africa has managed 383 million. Nigeria is second with 150, and Kenya 128, and Ghana is 84. So Kenya is gradually doing well from last year. We have not done very well at all this year. And I cannot blame that on COVID. I think Ghana hasn't fully taken advantage of AGOA. And then you have the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. And this is the first country, Ghana, to ratify the Trade Facilitation Agreement as the 104th member of the WTO. So we were very, very eager to ratify this facilitation and we facilitation of the agreement, and we were also eager to host it in Ghana. We did everything we could. We lobbied, went to the other African countries. It was not easy. The president was going, the ministers were all over the place, and we lobbied hard. And we won the bid to host the headquarters here. So you have the headquarters, as I told you earlier, in Ghana. And the new building is the African Trade House that hosts also the Ghana Export Promotion Authority head office and Ghana Exim Bank, as well as the Commodity Exchange in that same building. In having this AFCTFA in our building, we hope to take advantage of everything that it brings on board to see how we can push trade across Africa and also take advantage of the Africa Growth Opportunities Act. So then I want to talk a little bit of the role of GEPA in the export trade ecosystem. What at all do we...
Madam, I have a question.
Please go ahead. Okay, I'll stop here so that you can ask your questions and I'll go on and talk about GEPA.
Madam, please, I'm interested in what is exported from Nigeria apart from crude oil.
What is exported to Nigeria?
No. What is exported out of Nigeria? Apart from their crude oil, they export mainly to South Africa for refinery. What else do they export?
A lot of the things we export to Nigeria, they export some of them here as well. So you have a lot of little things like young produce, plastics, the same thing also. You'll be surprised to know that people bring in Gary. Meanwhile, the Nigerians like our Gary most. Nigeria and Ghana basically trade amongst themselves with the same kind of products. So that is why our trade between us and Nigeria is not as huge as elsewhere, because we basically have the same kinds of things. So if you talk about, you take crude oil, basically what we export there or they export here is not so much in terms of value.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Madam.
Thank you.
My question is, almost all countries in Africa signed or ratified the trade agreement after, except Eritrea. Please, what might be the cause of them not ratifying it?
I have no idea. I cannot tell you that I know why Eritrea is not on board. I have no idea.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, Edwin, go ahead.
So
okay, Doc, I just wanted to find out, the headquarters being in Ghana, what are the main advantages we are going to get from that?
First, it makes Ghana the commercial hub of Africa. So if Ghana is the commercial hub of Africa, you can imagine, and that is why you are having all of these organizations pitching tents here now. You have Volkswagen coming, you know, all the car industries that want to come here, pharmaceutical companies are coming here. Everybody wants to pitch tents here because this is going to be the commercial hub of Africa. And when they come, it is to our advantage. We have to learn best practices from them, as well as also improving upon our own manufacturing, because it's very competitive now, and we have to be exposed to the world not as second-class, citizens and second-class goods or anything. We have to put our best foot forward. Now we have to work like we are working for the world, because the world is now looking into Africa, and they are looking into Africa through Ghana. So we have to make sure that we are at that level as well. And that is why a lot is going on by way of industrialization, because we cannot be unprepared when the whole world is now looking at Africa and they're looking at Africa through Ghana. This is now the gateway. This is the commercial hub.
Yeah. Michael, please go ahead with your question. Michael. Michael.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Madam, thank you for your presentation. Now, when you started, you said that Africa, Ghana is even much more than the gateway to West Africa, but the gateway now to Africa. But when you started with the statistics, it became clear that trading amongst African countries is just about 11%.
Yes.
Now, how do you juxtapose that with us being the gateway to Africa?
That
you compare that to Asia and Europe, which is about 79%. So what are we doing to ensure to actually increase trade amongst Africa? Now, all the countries that you said, all the companies that are coming to Ghana because of the siting of the AFTA headquarters here, are all companies, from Europe, not one single company from Africa. What are we doing about that?
But we can also not say that because of that, we are not even going to start trading amongst ourselves, or we are not even going to try. And that's why the AFCTFA. So it gives us the opportunity to now look at trading amongst ourselves. And if they are coming to pitch tent here, if those coming from Europe are coming to pitch tent here, it is for us to learn best practices from them, to grow our own industries. If they come here, I'm sure Kantanka will have, they are not coming here on their own. They are teaming up with some local industries. So those that are coming here, I know that some of them are even going to work with Kantanka. So they are not just coming here. Let's say Volkswagen is teaming up with somebody else. They are teaming up with local industries.
All right, that's fine then. That's very fine.
Another organization is even teaming up with Kantanka. So it will help us build our own. Right now, we need them to build our own. And the mere reason why that we even want to trade amongst ourselves, for me, it's a very good thing. The realization that it is about time that we did this is even good. And there's an article I'm writing, and when it comes out, I think I'm talking about the benefits of COVID-19. And somebody says, why would you say that COVID-19 has benefits? And I think it has benefits because it has awoken us. Now we realize that we can do certain things by ourselves. There are so many things. I don't want to talk about everything I'm going to put in the article because I would want you to read. COVID-19, it's opened our eyes to so many things. I'm using sanitizers, at least, that are made here in Ghana. When we were importing sanitizers, and when the COVID arrived, we didn't even have sanitizers to buy. And just today, I heard that accidents for this year reduced to a very, very, low number because of the quarantine. A lot of people went out and about, so less people died through road accidents and all of that. Isn't it a positive? So we need to talk. We need to talk about integrating the African market right here in Africa. And it's high time we said, yes, we will do it and we will start from somewhere. Otherwise, it was always talk, talk, talk. And now we have all realized that we have to trade amongst ourselves. And for me, that alone is a starting point. All the other countries started like that. They were doing shoddy goods, just as we were talking about Kantanka. We will start from somewhere and we will progress and we will team up with the forces from European countries and all of that. And before they realize, we will be on our own, doing what we are happy with. Awesome. Any more questions before I go on?
Yeah, I think our meeting is scheduled to end at 8:45. I don't know what will happen when it gets to 8:45. I don't know if the whole thing will go off.
Oh, I'm almost done. So they are all off.
No, they are not off yet. It will go off at 8:45.
But I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Okay,
At the end of it, I was going to tell them a little bit about what we do, what get.
Yes, please.
So I think you have the slides.
Yes,
so
please. So I'll share the slides with them.
Yes, we just promote trade and all of that.
Yes.
And I would hope that most of them who are doing their own business will think of what they produce to export onto the international market. If you need any help, we have offices in 8 regions of this country, except the new regions in Grand Ahafo and Upper West region. They can contact any of our offices to help them push their products and services onto the international market.
Yes, Doc. So, Doc, please, you can go ahead.
I thought it was time. So
yes, I'll just notify you that in case the thing goes off.
Okay.
So yes, please. So please go ahead.
Questions. You can ask questions. I've talked about paper and what we do.
Yes.
And what we offer.
Yes, please.
Has
Somebody
anybody
posted a question in the chat about what the limitations are.
The limitations to
that is preventing Ghanaians from taking full advantage of the AGOA.
I think a lot of people don't know about it. There hasn't been a lot of noise made about it. And then the people who know about it, I realize that most of the exporters think that, oh, it means that I have to have a big factory. I have to have a big industry. We are now educating them on the benefits of AGOA and how to take advantage of it. Groups of organizations can come together. And also, we realize that we don't have warehouses outside where people can ship and go and store their goods for onward distribution in the US. So GEPA is trying to get a warehouse in the US. Plans are far advanced so that people can, because I realize that even somebody may want to take just a few boxes, that's what they can produce. And mailing them costs so much so that by the time they get to the other side, the products have become so expensive. So what we are trying to do is to get a warehouse, consolidate everything. If we consolidate them into containers so that if you bring 20 cartons and somebody is bringing 20 boxes from another place, we put them all in containers and then take them to the warehouse where it will be very easy for onward distribution. So these are some of the challenges that people are facing. One, people don't know about it. We need to make a lot more noise about it. Yes. We need to educate people on what it is. The fact that you are not paying anything, people don't even know this. We need to educate people more on the AGOA. And then we also need to make sure that when they take the goods out there, they have warehouses to place these products in for onward distribution.
Yeah.
And then the financing bit of even producing. And this is where we can handhold our exporters who have registered as financial institutions and also to EXIM. We work very closely with EXIM and we work with some banks, some financial institutions that can support you. That is if you have the order out there. And we mostly help you to find the order outside. And then we help you to produce and then supply.
Yes, Doc. Thank you so much. Godwin, you had a question. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asare. I think you've done a yeoman's job. Thank you so much. I would want to, it's not a question per se, but I'm realizing that it looks like the government has, and let's say governmental authorities, you have very good vision and stuff, but when it comes to the education and the disinformation, sending information out to the people, for a long time. It looks like you try, but maybe research has to be done to get to know why is it that the information you're trying to send the people are not reaching them. Because from the slides that you showed us, there's so much that we can do. But dedication reaching out to the people, it's always a problem. Because like I'm saying, it looks like the government always has very good things that they want to do, but the information doesn't get down, or the full package of the information never gets down to the people who it is intended for. But it's just the educated people like us, or let's say a few people who get to know about it. So maybe research should be going into that direction, because I think that the Ghanaian of today should be able to benefit, and there's so much already at stake.
Let me tell you something. A lot of people know if they are not able to do it, they will not tell the next person about it.
So please, what can we do to
a lot of people know if they will not be able to do anything about it. If I don't have the money produced, I'm not going to tell anybody that there's this, Let me tell you something. At GEPA, we support exporters to go out there and exhibit their products and services. We support them with freight, and we hire the space for them as well. So all you have to do is to take your phone and find a hotel room and pay for it. Your freight is paid for by the government. The space, sometimes as much as $3,000 to $6,000, is small space for an exporter. Government takes care of that. They all know, but they will not tell anybody. Yeah. So if you go out there and you are getting to other people, we always go out there, we do interviews, and I, for one, I talk about it everywhere. We do interviews, we do it in all languages, in all the regions. You see, I think that sometimes people don't even believe that this is really being done for free. And then those who try and come and see us and start going through it will not tell the next person that there's something good here. So you must also try.
Yes, Doc.
I agree with you. There needs to be a lot more education. And I'm telling you that the reason why we were able to jump from 2% all the time to even negative 3% in 2016, to move from there to 10% increase in export, means that something has gone on. We have done quite a lot of interventions, and people are getting to understand now. And that's why we moved from negative 3 to 10%. It has never happened in Ghana's export history. It's always 2% until 2016, when it dipped to minus 3%. And we moved it to 10%. So you know that then something is happening. We are talking to our people now, we are breaking it down to them, and they are understanding. And people are coming forward now. A lot of people knew about it, they felt intimidated. It may not be true. It is not possible that the government will freight all my goods, heavy goods, to the US, hire a place for me and not pay anything. People didn't even believe it, but it is being done. It is.
No. Please, there's a question in the chat that says that before Gifty Clenham left, she promised GEPA will contribute not less than $10 billion in 2020. But looking at the statistics, it seems it will be a little difficult for you. And the student is asking, how are you going to help attain this goal?
That was revised. When I assumed the position, it looked very unrealistic, looking at all the tools that we had and everything that was going against us. It was going to be difficult to get to. It was 10 billion, not 20. 10. Yes. And we said it wasn't realistic. We did a very, very good analysis of everything around us, and we realized it wasn't going to be feasible. So it was revised down to 5.3. And that's what we are looking at. But I also want to tell you that we have the National Export Development Strategy, which has been put together, and it's at the cabinet level. And it's even talking about more interesting stuff. And this was not put together by just GEPA. It was spearheaded by GEPA, but all the organizations in the export trade ecosystem were part. 100 stakeholders took part in formulating this document over 3 months. And so it's a very solid document, which has even revised a lot of the strategies that we thought and intervention that GEPA alone was doing to transform the numbers to get to where gifting expected us to get to. Right? It is not going to be GEPA alone. GEPA alone can't do what initially she thought we could do. It was a very good thing she did. She was trying to be a little ambitious, but GEPA alone can't do it. So we have brought all the stakeholders on board, and everybody is going to get a piece of the cake to work on for us to get to where we want to get to.
Yes, please. Sylvia, please, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Asare, for your presentation. I wanted, in your presentation, you talked about some difficulties trading within the ECOWAS sub-region. So I wanted to ask your thoughts on what lessons you have learned or drawn to inform the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Continental Area.
I think the main problem when it comes to all these protocols is protectionism. Everybody is trying to protect their turf. So I'm afraid that when I open my borders to Togo, Togo is going to bring in more of this, and if I open my borders to Nigeria, Nigeria is thinking the same. So everybody is protecting what they have, and it makes it very difficult to work with what we have all agreed on. I think that people should begin to see it as competition. We must be competitive, and that is what is going to even help our consumers. If we are competitive, we are going to produce the best in whichever corner that we are, and not to look at it as, not allowing the other country to come and trade in our country and putting impediments in our way. That's what we are doing now. We are putting impediments in each other's way because we are all protecting our turf. And if we keep protecting the turf, then all the protocols that we sign won't work. So right now, meetings are still going on, even within the West African sub-region, to see how we can break down all those barriers. We have protocols that we are not enforcing. If we are not able to enforce even the West Africa protocols, how are we going to bring in COMESA and all of them from the South African region and bring the whole of Africa together? So as I'm talking to you, regionally, work is being done to break down all these barriers and enforce the already existing protocols that we had, because that is what is going to feed into the bigger AFCTFA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael, please ask your question. Thank you, Sylvia, for your question.
Thank you so much, Doc, once again. Yes, but I don't know if this falls under your purview, but it has to do with enhancing trade amongst West African countries. And I recall that one of the things that President Kufuor did was to build the Buankra inland port. It was actually to help with the trading, especially amongst our countries north of Ghana. But unfortunately, it looks like it's not being in use. I don't know whether you know anything about it and what plans there is to actually use that port, which will reduce the traveling and all the associated risk of those countries coming all the way to Tema and Takrady, instead of just going to Buankra, which will shorten their distance. Thank you.
I cannot talk specifically about it, but I think that it's a very, very good question. And infrastructure is very important if we are going to achieve this trading amongst ourselves. Infrastructure is number one, it's key. And I think that is why we are also fervently working on the railway lines and all of that. Buankra will be very, very important, and I would like to find out what is happening to Buankra, because I haven't heard anything about it, and I don't know so much about what is happening there. It's not directly under me, but it affects what I do. So I would like to find out what is going on with Buankra, and as soon as I do that, I will let Dr. Boateng send you the information.
Yes, Doc.
Thank
Doc,
you.
please,
Thank you.
Portia wants to know how different your organization is from AGI.
AGI is an association of Ghana industries. They are an association. Ghana Export Promotion Authority is under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and it is the trade promotion organization that has been mandated by government
yes,
to make sure that all our value-added products and services are taken to the international market.
Yes, please.
But AGI is an association of industrialists. And so most of them are registered with GEPA because they export their products. Those who export their products outside of Ghana are all registered with GEPA. So we work with them to the extent that I have the CEO of AGI sitting on my board. So we work with all the associations, the trade associations, we work with them. We work with Ghana National Chamber of Commerce. They sit on my board. We work with GIPC, Ghana Investment Promotion. They sit on my board, and I sit on EXIM's board. So you see how we all work together. We are all linked in a way, but it is GEPA that is mandated by government under the Ministry of Trade.
Yes, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Chief Tano, please ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Doc, I'm very happy to hear from you and to listen to you. I have a personal experience with GEPA and also a question to you.
Yes, please.
All right. I participated in an exhibition organized by GEPA outside Ghana, and it gave me an opportunity to see the opportunities, the markets are in the sub-region, the West Africa market, very huge. I think we start to trade amongst ourselves, it will really be for West Africa. And personally, I took delight in it, followed up. It's been like 6 years, and we've gone far at the firm-to-firm level. We've been able to push, and in that very country, we are the pioneers to start. We are the pioneers to begin a whole thing in a particular industry. So I think some of these your exhibitions really help, and I'm happy to share it. My question has to do with the eco currency that I'm trying to come up with in West Africa, and I'm trying to find out how it will impact the impact it has when with this after trade agreement when it comes into force.
There was something wrong with the line. I didn't hear part of your question. What is
all right?
What is
ECOWAS? My question is, ECOWAS been trying to come up with a single currency.
Oh, the ECO.
The sub-region.
Okay.
Yeah, the ECO, and I'm trying to find out the one, how far it's gone and its relation with after, the impact it will have on after. Because I think currency that after is all over Africa and we have different currencies. How will it impact on the implementation?
So we have regional blocks, and we have not integrated, I don't think we are about to integrate the regional blocks now. It's one step at a time. So our ECO is still being considered, but because other blocks are also considering theirs, I cannot say how we are going to merge all of this now or in future. But I know that our ECO has gone far and it is still in the works. But I don't know how it's going to be that we can all be using one currency. That is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Thank you. Doc, please, could
we have started something now, and I think that gradually we will build on it. How soon we are all going to get so integrated that we will be using one currency, I think it's in the long term. I don't think it's going to be very soon. Mind you, as we are trying to progress, not everybody is happy with what Africa is doing now, and there will be issues. And so it's a tough battle, and we have just started. Let's see how it goes.
Yes, Doc. Lucy, please, you can ask your question.
My question is, when AGUA started in 2000, there was this issue with standard. I know most of the clothing companies have now improved on their standard because of that, and we are even enjoying it. But when you come to our products, most of our products have standard issue. Some of them even there are vegetables and stuff, and then the adulteration of our oil and all that. One thing I've noticed about our market is that when we start producing something very good, as time goes on, we start adulterating it. I remember buying some honey, it was good. As time goes on, I realized that they added sugar to it. So how is GIPA trying to encourage the indigenous Ghanaians to know that when you start something, you have to maintain that standard, because standard is one of the things to help us send our product outside to buy. But we are not following standard. Most of our products are falling off standard. And because we want to cut corners and make more money, we end up always adding things to the product. Because I know recently palm oil was rejected in some of the markets because they have added a color, and the government has to do something about it. And I know friends who sent clothes to the US when AGUA started, and their clothes were sent back because they were using white thread to knit black things and all that. So what are you doing to help the exporters to know what to do?
That lies the domain of Ghana Standards Authority, and we work very closely with Ghana Standards Authority as well. Their CEO sits on my board as well, so you see how closely we work together. But our export school, if exporters come through our export school, we put them through some of these training to let them understand that you have standards for Europe, you have standards for the USA, you have standards for every country. So you cannot say that because I exported to Nigeria and it was okay and it was accepted, it met the standards there, it's going to meet standards in America. So if you are going to export based on what AGOA has to offer, then you have to know that your standards will have to be different from other countries' standards. And we put our exporters through this. And that's why we encourage everybody to take part in our export school. What we are even going further to do, we are building an emporium. By the end of this month, it will be ready and in use. So you have somebody from Ghana Standards Authority, Ghana Food and Drugs Board, they will all be sitting, the PPRSD, all the people that matter, a customs officer. So it will be a one-stop shop. You come to GEPA and you go to the emporium. Deal with all these people so that you don't have to be hopping from one place to the other. And we help you go through all these processes and make sure that your standards are what they are supposed to be when you are exporting to a certain country. We help you with all of these things so that you don't have your goods getting there and then being rejected, because that is what happens to a lot of people. Sometimes they think they can cut corners, and we call some people Putumanto exporters. They carry a little bit in their bag here and there. They manage to sneak it across the borders to countries, and then they find these things in the shops, especially in Europe and America, in the African shops, and they are not what they said they are when they were leaving. You have palm oil that has been tainted and all of that, and it affects every palm oil that is being sent across to other countries, because one palm nut has been tainted, palm nut oil has been tainted, and everybody says Ghana palm oil is tainted. So to curtail some of these things, we bring the staff from these organizations, the Standards Authority and Food and Drugs Authority, to come and lecture at our school, and also to support the exporters go through the process of standardizing their products and services before we help them take it outside of the country. And that's why we are even bringing them closer to to sit with us. So when you come together and you are coming to register to say, I'm exporting something, then we tell you that you need to, after registering, you need to speak to Ghana Standards Authority. They are in our building. You need to speak to Food and Drugs Authority. They are here. PPRS, they are here. The Ministry of Agri, somebody is there to talk to you, to see how you can package your products in the way that is expected before it is exported outside.
Doc, please, Kojoboni has a question. He said in his previous class, they were trying to discuss the reasons why some agricultural exports do not meet EU standards, and they always get rejected. So can you kindly advise why these standards are not met for our exports?
EU has very, very strict standards, and it's about the pesticides that we use and all of that. It's about the quality of the products that we send out there. And some people are able to meet the standards. So why aren't some people meeting the standards? Because people just want to cut corners, and people don't even involve the agricultural extension officers who know about all of these things to help them. Don't use this, to use that. The pesticides that they are used, EU doesn't accept products with those pesticides at a certain level and all of that. So somebody hears that, oh, you can export mangoes to the EU, or you can export pepper to the EU. So they go and grow pepper without consulting anybody. It's different from growing pepper to sell in Ghana, and it is different from growing pepper to export to the US, and maybe different from exporting it even to the UK. Even among countries, it will be different from what they will be requesting. So the moment you think of doing exports of any products or service, you need to approach the right people for them to help you, to tell you what you need to do and what you need not do. The products that we export, for me, it will be best that we eat the same kind of produce here. If you export pepper and EU want a certain standard, it's because that standard is very good for consumption. They make sure that it's very good for consumption. But we think, oh, we can eat it here, it's okay. It's not okay. If it is not okay for consumption in the UK, why is it okay for consumption here? So we need to standardize all these things, and we need for our people to understand that you cannot just get up and grow anything. Let me give you one practical example. Now, smoked fish. We export smoked fish to Europe, and they tell us that the smoke is too much and it's what? Carcinogenic. I hope I got that right. Carcinogenic.
Yes, Doc.
So it means you get cancer when you eat a kind of smoked fish, because the smoke is too much and the smoke is not healthy. The kind of smoke that is emitted when we smoke the fish is not healthy. So we should use a certain kind of smoker now. We were using the chocolate smoker, and that is what is giving us a carcinogenic smoke. So let's use ahuto. We are trying to introduce ahuto to our people. And what I'm hearing is that, oh, when you use ahuto to smoke the fish, it doesn't give it that interesting color that you have, the reddish brown color. It doesn't give you that color, so it's not good. If you go and use the ahuto, the chocolate smoker, it gives you that beautiful color, but it's not good for consumption, and you export it to UK, it will be rejected. And yet people are trying to do that, even though we are telling them, let's give you ahuto, which will give you the one that when you export, it will not be rejected. They are still adamant, because we like the fish looking brownish and reddish and all of that, the color that we are more of the color, about the color than the contents, what goes into our bodies, what it's got.
Yes, Doc.
So I think that these are some of the issues why when we take our things out there, they are rejected. We are not doing what the country requires. the standards that we have to meet for that country is not being met.
Yes, Doc. So Saliu will ask his question, then we'll answer Lucy's questions in the chat, and then we will end our session on that note. So Saliu, please ask your question.
Yeah, Doc. I think you're doing fantastic at your work area. My question has partly been answered, but I just want to recommend that in terms of awareness creation for what GEPA is doing, I think if you can kind of invest a lot more in that area, because I think a lot more people are becoming entrepreneurial now, and our focus of training and even the environment within which a lot of us are growing up is more geared towards being entrepreneurs than employees. So if you can intensify awareness creation about your outfit, then people would come in and understand all of these things. So from the word go, they would incorporate it at the beginning of the concepts that they are going to be driving. So kudos to you and your team for the good work done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Advice well taken. As you were talking, I had ideas that people are being very entrepreneurial. I think that it is very true, and maybe we can even start going to the tertiary institution to talk to them about GEPA, so that those who are thinking of veering into exports, and that's why we have our youth in export. In fact, we did a whole lot with the youth, and we have actually got a few people, young men and women, that we are attaching to industry now. The first being agribusiness. So from next week, you would even hear of us when we launch our first youth in export. They will be attached to exporters, seasoned exporters. And so we are working with young people who are entrepreneurial. We've already ventured there, but we will still continue to give a lot of publicity, as you say, so that a lot more people can know about what we are doing in GEPA. GEPA is 50 years old, and I have a feeling that it is only recently that some people are getting to know about GEPA.
Yes, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Doc, please, Lucy wants to know how your outfit is working with 1D1F to promote and increase the volume of exports.
The organizations that are registered under 1D1F, some of them we are working with. If you take a confit, I can just give an example for now, a confit pineapple juice. We supported them with pineapple seedlings that we gave to the outgrowers who supplied them with the pineapples. And you hear that most of the time we are giving out pineapple sakes and pineapple sakes. So we support most of the industries that are under 1D1F.
Yes, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Another question also says, is GEPA allowed to register an exporter who adds value to gold?
To what?
Gold.
Yes. Yes, jewelry. We have people who are registered with us who are into jewelry.
Yes, Doc.
The moment you add value to something, we will support you.
Yes, Doc. Yes. That question was from Lydia. And then the final question, which is from Lucy, is, does it cost to go to the school? I think she's referring to the export school you organize for the exporters. And she's saying a lot of people do not know the school.
People come, but people come to the on what basis is she saying that a lot of people do not know the school? I don't like it when people generalize things like that. A lot of people do not know this. You haven't done any research. So what do you base that on? A lot of people come to the school. I'm telling you, people come to the school.
Yes, Doc.
We register all the time to come. We hold it 4 times in a year, and people register to come.
Yes, Doc.
And because of COVID, we are even going to do it online, and that will be basically for free, I'm sure. But we charge something very small for people to come to the school. And people, it's always, you know, filled up when we open. So people come to the school.
Yes, yes, no. And then finally, she wants to know, okay, someone wants to know how much you charge for the school.
I don't know.
Okay, but you have, Lydia says she has been to your school.
Imagine when you register with GEPA, a whole year you pay only 200.
Wow.
It's not so much, but I want to increase it because a lot of the exporters are becoming through GEPA. So I have to pay something.
Seems one of your past.
So that we can go to the
Yeah, Lydia, can you say hi to Doc? So that she knows. She says she has been to the school. Lydia, can you say hi?
Well done, Lydia. Hi. I don't know. I'm seeing one lady here who is like dozing. I don't know whether that's Lydia.
Oh, okay. She just posted in the chat section that yes, she has been.
You know, you look like you're dozing.
It was me. It's Lucy, actually.
Okay. Lydia says she has a problem with her mic, so she will not be able to.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah. So, how did you find the school? We have revamped our curricula. Everything has changed now. We have improved upon it, and it's going to be very exciting the next time you come to the school. So please do well to pass through when we announce the next course.
Yes, Doc. And then, Doc, the last question says, is your outfit able to test the products that go out?
No, we don't test. It is Ghana Standards Authority and Food and Drugs Authority. They do the testing. And then at the final point before it gets out of the country is the PPRST. And so we work with all of these people.
Yes, Doc. And Doc, one of the students says you should please link them up when you take the course online so that they can participate. Hello, Doc. Doc, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Doc, are you there?
I think she's gone offline.
Yeah. Michael, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
No, madam, not at all.
Oh, okay. Your hand has been up. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, she's back. She's back online.
Oh, okay. Doc, please, are you there?
I lost you, yeah.
Yes,
but I'm
Doc.
here.
Yes, Doc. I was saying that the students are requesting that you link them up when you take the course online so that they can participate.
Okay. As soon as it is announced, I'll let you have the link so that they can all join.
Yes, Doc. We'll be most grateful.
If they are charging, you have to pay.
Yes, Doc. I'm sure the people that have
you have to pay for your students. We'll give you a concession so that you can all join. I'm sure you like it.
Yes, Doc. We'll be most grateful. On that note, Doc, I want to say thank you so much for spending time with us. We are very grateful. It seems the little that you have said here alone has sparked a lot of interest in members of the class, especially those who are into their own businesses and are interested in exporting. But I'm sure you'll be getting a visit from one or two of them very soon.
I'll be very grateful. I'll be very, very grateful. They should come. I'll be very grateful.
Doc, please expect Chief Tano. I'll be there.
Chief Tano, I will expect you. You should all be ambassadors of GEPA.
Yes, Doc. I think
Sure.
If you want to know anything, just pass through. Let me know, and then pass through. You can all come. We'll sit down. We'll have another class about GEPA.
And we can drink beer.
Hey, you like beer? Don't
Club
worry.
beer, please. Made in Ghana beer.
beer.
Club beer. Made in Ghana beer.
Made in Ghana beer. Cassava
We
beer.
take only. Yes, Eagle beer.
Root extra.
Oh, okay.
No,
Come, there's a
beer.
lot of made in Ghana alcohol in my office. You'll be so
Yes.
Come.
We have ambassadors of Gihog distilleries here.
Okay, come and taste them for me. I'm here to taste them and see if they are okay. So come let's do tasting.
In fact, Doc, I like you. I like you.
Come, let's do Ghana drink tasting in my office.
Sure.
No, we will name it.
I'll just
Ghana.
throw you out of my window.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much for thank you. Bye.
Bye, dog.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So class members, that brings us to the end of our session. I will share the slides with you as part of in a resource folder in Google Drive. I want to say thank you to you all for being a good sport, and hopefully we will meet during our next lecture. We will continue our correspondence though on our WhatsApp page. So anybody who has something they would like to say, kindly reach out to the platform. Thank you all for coming for the lecture, and see you, God willing, next time.
Doc,
thank
please.
you.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc.
Doc, Dr. Sheena.
Ivan, no question.
Oh, it's not a question, please. Thank you so much for giving us a reason that we are doing this course. We really benefited. Thank you so much.
Yes.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Let's give Doc 3 yours.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. God be with you all.
Good night.
All right.
Hey, Chief.
This one the last slide I want to close. Yeah.